SativaCross.com. It's Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. We're back in front of Chris Christie's office every Thursday, smoking our cannabis right across the street, legally and appropriately. SativaCross.com, CMMNJ.org. Welcome to the show. Yeah, we love this part. Mr. Haney in the house, Mr. Jim Miller in the house. I'm Lefty Grimes. Welcome to the show. Had a bunch of kids in front of our table here. That was pretty cool. That was the first. Hey, William, get over here. On today's show, we're going to talk about the jury nullification attempt by John Pedito in Ocean County. Me and Ed Fortune went down there and we smoked cannabis right in front of Ocean County Courthouse. The sheriffs were well aware of it. We made video at SativaCross.com. You can see the video. John Pedito is on trial for 17 plants, and he's facing 30 years in jail for 17 cannabis plants. That's sick. Also on the show, we went to Matt Javone's trial. Am I saying that right? Javone?
I'm not sure the pronunciation on that.
Javone. Javone. No, Javone. I don't know.
Ask him to call in.
It's Peter's brother. Peter's a patient.
Okay.
Peter's brother was charged with Peter's bong. Peter leaves his bong at his brother's house. And his brother's charged. I mean, really, this is ridiculous. They're going after the families of medical marijuana patients. How do you go after families of medical marijuana patients? Haven't these people been victimized enough? You're going to double victimize them by going after their families? Wow. I call out these prosecutors. I actually cornered the prosecutor in Matt's case because he's the same prosecutor that's prosecuting Scott Vasilik in Sparta, another medical marijuana patient. Right. Who's being prosecuted and double victimized by the government.
Being used as political pawns.
Yeah, political footballs. It's sad. It's sad that these people are suffering with horrible diseases and the government is doing nothing to help them. As a matter of fact, the government is hurting them. The government is killing these children. Oh my goodness. It's so sad. Where's our governor, by the way? Where is our governor? Is he around? Anybody see the governor?
Did he do the debate last night?
Wasn't he at the debate?
Was he at the debate last night?
I saw him. I heard him, but I thought he was here today. Wait, there he is. There's Governor Christie. He's here. Run, kids, run. Governor Christie's here. Run. Run, children, run. Governor Christie's here. He's going to eat you. Run. Go hide behind the pole. Oh, my God, Johnny, run. Run, little Susie. Don't let Governor Christie catch you. He's going to eat you. Oh, no. Oh, he got little Billy. Oh, he's got him. Run, Johnny, run. Don't let the governor catch you. Oh, the agony. Oh, the humanity. Hey, Christie, leave those kids alone.
And then they're going to come across the street and complain about the volume again.
So, thank you, William, for joining us today on the Sativa Cross podcast. What did you have to say about the volume? It's not loud enough? You need it louder? I know you have hearing problems.
No,
Do I have to give you 10 seconds to count?
No,
1,
no count.
2.
The situation was the woman came from across the street who is raising the awareness for the year anniversary of Hurricane Sandy.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate I wish the Sandy people would come over here. We would love to talk to some Sandy people. There are people that are suffering across the street right now that are victims of the Hurricane Sandy. So just as we have medical cannabis victims, we also have victims of Sandy across the street protesting for their lives because the governor has done nothing to help these people.
All he cared about was the tourist attractions.
I mean, if the governor was making people happy, why are there groups of people across the street protesting Governor Christie? Why are there people here setting up with speakers and a podcast, doing a podcast every week out in front of his office, if Governor Christie was man enough to do the right thing?
All he has to do is his job. He's not even doing his job. I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? What do you put so much time in your office and then all of a sudden you get a license to go chase your political ambitions? Are you kidding me? Seriously. I mean, this is a common sense situation. If he can't take care of us, how's he going to take care of the rest of the country?
He can't even take care of himself.
Well, we're not going to get into the personal. We'll just stay within the political. That is his playground. So we need to go into the playground.
I don't like his playground.
He knows that. That's why he knows you won't come in.
No, I'll go in there.
And you need to play with his toys. It's real simple.
And I'm going to bring a couple of cats with me in his little sandbox.
No, it's all about his emotional intelligence. Come on. Are you serious?
Do I look serious to you?
Nah.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. I'm serious.
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
We're out here every week because Governor Christie is making patients and parents suffer, and he's killing kids. He's killing. That's no joke. When I did that little bit about him chasing kids and eating them, he actually killed Sabina Rose with his regulations. Google Sabina Rose Joanna, and you'll see how Governor Christie killed this poor girl. This poor girl had to wait for her medical cannabis for 4 months. 4 months, a quarter of her life, she had to wait. And she died waiting while having a 25-hour seizure. She died. Now, she could have gotten OxyContin. She could have gotten Onfi. Within 5 minutes, she can get horrible drugs. Medical cannabis, she had to wait 4 months, jump through hoops. Her parents had to spend time, effort, money, trying to get her card. Sad, brutal truth of the medical reality, of the medical marijuana in New Jersey. Brutal. It's nothing but suffering and double victimization. Suffering and double victimization. Just like the Sandy victims over there, we have suffering and double victimization over here too. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Where is our governor? How come he won't answer our questions? How come he won't sit down at our podcast when he walks past us in his little black car? He pulls over here and walks up here with his bag of donuts. Maybe we need donuts. Jim, can we get donuts? Maybe that'll help.
We can do whatever we want.
Let's get donuts. I'm hungry anyway.
You gonna order donuts?
Yeah, can we order donuts?
Do they deliver?
Yeah.
So guess what? This is our 30th podcast this year. 30. Yeah, the crowd goes wild. They all clap in unison, every one of them. Yeah, it's every Thursday for 30 weeks. This is our 31st gathering. But the first week we decided we certainly need more than a gather, and we're able to put together a rudimentary podcast for the next week, and we are still a work in progress.
We are?
Yes, we are.
What does that mean?
It means we're getting better.
So,
more like what would be a standard podcast.
I think we are the standard.
Well, we show up every week, and
It's half the battle.
I don't think a week goes by that our governor says something that's out of line with the truth, having to do with cannabis or just something related. Like on one hand, he doesn't comment on pending legislation.
He doesn't?
That's what his office staff said when Whoopi Goldberg called from The View trying to find out about A4587.
I could swear he commented on the gun
He
legislation.
commented on it that week.
Yeah, boy, come to think of it, is he a liar? Is Governor Christie a liar, Jim?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I going to be politically correct and say a non-truth teller?
We're live on the air,
William.
and you just called Governor Christie a liar on the air. Millions of people have just heard you say that.
Yeah, well, they already know it. I mean, there are millions
Oh.
of people are then nodding their heads.
Okay.
William.
People are beeping their horn. Yes, keep beeping. We support you too. Yeah, one thing about Trenton, you always have sick people coming up to us telling us a sad story. And
Just
it's
about every week.
Every week, Jim.
Just about every week.
Man.
It's hard to hear, but it also offers fuel for doing this every week. I don't think people know what's involved simply getting set up for this. Technically speaking, physically getting your body down here every week. Just every week, week after week. And I don't get tired of it, though.
No, I don't either.
It's easy to be inspired when you see children suffering. And it's easy to be inspired when you realize what an unfair fight it is between our governor and a 16-year-old girl who has epilepsy and autism. And how inspired, if that's the correct word, could one possibly get knowing that this little girl who is in what he calls a medically based cannabis program in New Jersey, that's why it took 6 years to even be almost a failure, just because we wanted to be medically based, and that she's not allowed to take her legal medical marijuana oil in a nurse's office for a lunchtime dose. She ends up going home and getting half an education. So when the legislature put A4587 together and the companion bill in the Senate, I don't know the number of it, it got to the governor's desk in 7 days. Today's the 29th of October. It got to his desk June 29th. 4 months ago today, this bill was put on the governor's desk. In 4 months, he has ignored the Barber family. Ignored them, entirely ignored them. And I understand Sandy victims are being ignored too. And I'm not saying the governor isn't good at doing that. He gets to ignore who he wants. But when an autistic, epileptic, developmentally challenged little girl and her frantic parents can't get him to even veto a bill, even acknowledge Jenny's existence. How piss poor is that? And you can say that now because Governor Sweeney used that phrase somewhere I read in the paper. He called whatever bill piss poor. So
Really?
yeah, we're okay to say that now.
What does that mean?
More than bad.
Piss poor.
Yeah, I know that's not a great saying one way or the other.
But like, who makes these sayings up? Piss poor.
I wonder that all the time. I really do. But governor somewhere between Colorado and here now. He's probably going to Iowa or New Hampshire next. And
You think he smelt weed while he was out in Colorado?
I'm guessing not.
Smelt it, not smoked it.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he shouldn't know what it smells like.
He shouldn't know.
No, he shouldn't. He's never smoked it. He's probably never been around it.
I don't know.
That's who you want passing judgment on something, somebody who has no experience whatsoever. I know you don't have to put your hand in a fire to know it's hot sort of thing, but most people have.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you develop the respect. You don't want to fall, but you climb a tree as a kid, and first time you fall, you get more respect for it. But Well, we're not asking the governor to smoke marijuana. We're asking that he actually meet with a patient without them having to chase him down at a town hall meeting or a diner or wherever he gets chased down by the parents of children mostly. What was it, 3 weeks out of 4 at a town hall meetings, he picked on somebody, just another woman in the crowd who would stand up and say, "My daughter has epilepsy," and ream him out. And then he would say, "Well, you see, it's legalization that I'm concerned with, and that's what people really want, who want this medically." You know, he said that so many times. It does such a disservice to parents who are trying to take care of their 16-year-old girl. And he's not a man to apologize even when he's wrong, so I don't think we should hold our breaths for that possibility. And he hasn't come by our podcast once this year. He walked by us every 4 or 5 weeks last year. I think it's a back door getting more use this year is what it is.
Whoa.
Yeah. Side door. Go ahead, make that double entendre somehow. Side door.
Yeah, he must be getting snuck in. We only saw him twice this year. I got him on film once.
Yeah. I saw him the first day, April 2nd.
And yeah, you got him the one day. Yeah.
Yeah, he just came in just as I was getting stuff out. And I remember I told him, I said, you know, if we had a seat at the table, we don't have a vote. We don't really have a say in how things proceed. But there isn't one thing that's gone wrong that we didn't know would happen beforehand, that if we were in the mix, we could have at least warned them this might be the result of your actions in implementing these regulations in this manner. But we weren't consulted because that protects their what's called plausible deniability, that when things go wrong they can say, well, how could we have known? And it wouldn't help if somebody said, we've been telling you at monthly meetings. That's how you know. So that's why, you know, basically it's to preserve their ignorance, so that when things don't work out like they say they would, they can just shrug and say, well, now I've learned something. But we want them to learn before the fact. It's vetoing edibles for adults while compromising and allowing oral preparations for children. The word compromise comes up every time. This was simply, smoking is probably one of the worst ways to ingest medicine. Everybody says that. We've been told that for a lifetime. You never smoke medicine. Medicine's never smoked. Well, what's the only way they give it to you here? Smokable form. We're just saying, heed the advice of every prohibitionist that's ever spoke out against the method of ingestion, smoking, and say, yeah, oral preparations offer longer action, longer lasting, prevent, in many cases, breakthrough pain at night, and certainly doesn't compromise your system the way smoking does. Too many things. We don't even actually have a list, and it would be a long one. The governor has said, though, you know, I always got to be a little bit fair and said that he has said that edible forms for adults he would okay if a bill got to his desk that was just about that. So he stands ready to fix that, but nobody's getting him that bill. It's frustrating. We can't get our friends to help us sometimes. We certainly can't get our opponents to help us. Yeah, it's a sad situation. Right, people showing up.
What's up, Donald? How are you? Go ahead, grab that mic.
We're minus.
Yeah, what's going on?
How are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
We're minus chairs, mic stands.
Oh, that's fine.
And my briefcase.
That's fine. I'm used to standing.
We forgot a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we screwed up today. Oh, well.
I know Lefty got to be in pain.
No, this is good. I'm actually comfortable.
Actually, yeah, this is a comfort position.
Yeah,
really.
I'm good. I normally sit like this.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that hurts me. I'll take the pain for it because
Could
that
be-
hurts me.
You can have it.
Could be
Just
your American Indian roots. That's a common way of.
My 12% of American Indian.
Well, that's a common way of sitting
What's-
over centuries.
So what's going on across the street?
It's Hurricane Sandy victims and people who don't like the fact that there are still victims. It's been 3 years, I believe,
Wow,
today.
there's still
3
victims
years. There is so much that needs to be done after 3 years still. And
Wow.
you know, it's such a long, hard to believe story how money got spent, how it didn't get spent, and what you have to go through to get less than it's going to take to fix what you need to fix. It's the lack of accountability on the government side of this. There's a lack of accountability for anything, but when it's people's homes and you need to get them back in their homes and it's taken over this long, there is no excuse. We're better than that. We are.
We really should have learned something from Hurricane Katrina about exactly the relief efforts of our government as far as major disasters that affect our country.
Well,
But yet,
what worries me is, did we learn anything for the next hurricane?
no. But the crazy thing that when you think about it, you remember when that typhoon hit, that tsunami hit Thailand or whatever. America, I remember, was on TV every day. It was all over the news how we need to help those people in Thailand and all this, give all we can. But what got me messed up about that is, how are we so quick to jump to help other people in other countries when we have people from our own disasters, such as Hurricane Sandy and Hurricane Katrina, that are still suffering from that, and the government is yet to raise a finger to help them, but yet we can go across the world and help those people. I mean, what sense does that make? That's like if my kids are starving and your kids are starving, but I feed your kids, what sense does that make?
Well, if anybody just fed mine and not yours, that'd be wrong. But, you don't have to know a lot about Hurricane Sandy to know that this is not where we should be now.
Oh, yeah.
So
No
no
doubt
matter
about that.
what excuse might be up front, and, it's a lot harder than we know. I don't know what's involved with the writ. I don't know. And everybody's pointing fingers at everybody. But I do know there's absolutely no valid excuse for this not being taken care of
Oh, no.
three years later.
I fully believe you. I'm right there with you, and I think it's BS that it's even taking this long. I hope this is not ignorant thinking on my behalf or whatever, but I'm not saying that I forgot about Hurricane Hurricane Sandy, but I didn't think I didn't think this was still going on. Like, I really, really didn't. I thought this was all handled,
Well,
especially this being in like New Jersey. I figured,
no, it was a daunting task. Just seeing even months later what happened, especially on the Barrier Island, being from Tom's River.
yeah, Tom's River guy.
Well, the Barrier Island there, everything. There wasn't a road that was worth driving on after that. It was just, it was stunning. Nonetheless, shouldn't be where it is now, and a lot of reasons, but there's no reason to not engage people. And like we want a seat at the medical marijuana table, But how can residents who don't have their homes in shape yet, how can they not have a seat at the table where these decisions are being made? They shouldn't have to come and
those
protest.
Those seats cost money.
That should be knock on the front door high.
Oh, definitely.
And somebody should apologize, have a seat, and take information and
honestly,
fix it.
I'm sick and tired of apologies. I at this point, I don't want nobody to say sorry for anything. I want them to show that they're sorry and take action instead of, the government is always, that's their thing. To apologize. We apologize for our time, taking time on this. I apologize for that. But yet they don't show that they're actually sorry, because they don't take any actions towards anything that they're apologizing for. They just apologize because, people are such, apology whores that's what they go for. They jump, oh my God, he said sorry. Oh my God.
Well, Australia just apologized to all their indigenous people, didn't they?
Did they?
Yeah. A public apology.
They give them anything?
Apology?
Yeah.
They said they were sorry.
See, that's exactly my point. And the reason why apologies can be given,
sorry.
apologies are free.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You don't even have to mean it.
My bad, yo. Okay. We're good.
Yeah. Look, trust me.
man.
I've said sorry to so many people, and I didn't even mean it.
How do you-
like, not even a little bit?
How do you say sorry to parents with sick kids though, whether or not things straighten out?
No, someone like us, we can't. We wouldn't just offer an apology. We would try to do something. But them, it's easy for them to do that. It's
They
easy.
don't need-
Just
but-
step to the mic and say, "I apologize
The
for your sick children."
This bill, the sign's wrong. It says 117 days. Bill's been sitting on the governor's desk 122 days now.
Wow.
And he has not even issued a statement on it, much less given it any a look at all. It's not under review. His staff says the governor doesn't comment on pending legislation, and then he regularly does. You know, that's not hard to find. And why is it so hard? Just if this is the tough talking governor, tells it like it is, says what he means what he says. Why doesn't he just tell his family, no, your child is not going to be allowed to use her medicine at school, her oil taken in a nurse's office, and then tell her why. Tell her why he's not signing that bill, and then move on. That's what an executive is supposed to do. Now he's talking like he
That'll
can
make him
handle,
look bad.
He can deal with Vladimir Putin, but he can't deal with Roger Barber. You know, I mean, how is Roger Barber harder to deal with than Vladimir Putin?
I think Roger Barber is tougher to deal with than,
well,
than
he
Putin.
may well be, but he also makes sense where Vladimir not so much.
I mean, yeah, Roger's fighting for Jenny's life.
I can see how it affects him too.
Yeah, man.
And this is a joke to a lot of people. Marijuana, do you got samples?
Yeah, we got another.
It's about marijuana. It's
Yeah.
It's when Jenny was here, when the children who are sick and have epilepsy are here. It's not so funny.
No.
It's just not that funny when they're here, you know. And people who want to disassociate with what we do because it's marijuana, without even realizing that it's medical, and it really helps people and it saves lives.
It doesn't line pockets.
They want to disassociate because
Yeah, like
they're
seriously.
of ignorance, you know.
You
And
can't buy Bentley with, positive results. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it'd be a lot easier advocating for many things other than cannabis because you don't start out with 2 strikes against you.
Yeah, like.
Well, like getting back in your homes. Nobody's going to say, how dare you? You want to get back in your homes. That's awful. Nobody's going to say that, but we get that attitude for trying to help save sick kids' lives.
But let's keep in mind that it's still legal for a mentally ill person to possess a gun in the state of New Jersey. That's legal. That was passed last week. You remember at the last rally last week, the lady came out and told a couple of people that they tried to get that law taken off, but no, it didn't pass. That law is still standing. It is legal for a mentally ill person to have a gun.
Last week, there was some people here in support of that, or whatever, and I put some music on, and one of the women started twerking on my speaker. Now, I don't want that woman owning a gun. The woman that was twerking on my speaker, I don't think she should have a gun.
And I want to know which speaker.
Yeah, I want to know exactly where was I.
Man,
I was here last week.
I handle it every day.
I did not see any twerking on speakers.
She just jumped. She straddled my speaker and she's twerked.
Okay, I got mental.
Wait, was she pretty?
No. This
You know who I'm talking about. You were talking to her.
Yeah, I got my mental image block up, and I'm hoping we get back to something medical cannabis related.
Hey, I'm right there with you. But
I needed cannabis after that.
there was twerking on a speaker.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, I don't want. I don't. That's how is that less dangerous than a kid receiving their medicine at school?
Well, there's no discussion on it.
It's they have all their seizures at school. These kids that are not getting their medicine, Jenny has all her seizures at school, or most of them during the school day when she can't get her oil.
Stop seizures in memory of Teresa M. Huggins or Hughes.
He can't hear you unless you give him a 10 count and you got to yell in his ear. Yeah, wait, watch this. William, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Ring a bell.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Go.
see. What? No. No. Why are you going
Well,
to do that?
I want to ask him a question.
Is it about cannabis?
Yes.
Please say so.
Yes, it is about. Who was that person on your sign, Bill?
It's his mother.
Who was that person on your sign?
On this one,
On your sign, yes.
that's my mother's grave.
Oh, wow.
And your mother suffered from epilepsy.
Yes, sir.
You actually watched your mom have seizures and fall on the ground and horrible things happen.
Or while she was raising me and my brother.
Right. And that's why you're here every week.
I'm trying to help raise the awareness.
I know why you're here.
I'm on a mission.
Me too, man.
And that's a beautiful thing. I believe we all are on a mission. I think sometimes we fall off the track because of personal interest or concerns, lose sight.
Or personal tragedies. Or,
But I think that happens to all of us. I don't know.
But your mother could not get medical cannabis.
Oh, no. Are you kidding me?
It was not even an option.
Wasn't it?
Wasn't a thought.
No, they played with medication hoping to get lucky. Playing with cocktails.
Yeah, it's
And,
basically throwing something against the wall.
hoping to get lucky. And in some instances, she may have went maybe a week and a half tops. And then it was just a matter of the domino. But, you know, she did the best she could trying to raise me and my brother under those conditions. And then being told she couldn't be employed at places because they didn't know how to handle the seizure situation.
That's BS.
And then her husband, my father, is in Coatesville Administration Hospital with a misdiagnosis as being diagnosed as paranoia schizophrenia, which was a very good possibility that it was shell shock PTSD.
Because he was, that would be my first thought.
So behind that decision, denied my mother and me and my brother a man in the house.
Wow.
And, you know, mommy trying to do the best she could to raise the babies.
So this
Put me and my brother at my own devices.
See, stuff like this has obviously been going on for, what is way too long.
That's.
You're an older gentleman, so I'm assuming this is like years and years back, and then here we are, still 2015, going into 16, and really like not that much progress has been made. I mean, maybe a little bit, but not as much as what should be made with all these documented cases of what cannabis can fix, proven cases of what it can fix, and yet 2015, here we are still.
I think even from the beginning of the cannabis situation, I think it was always medical first before it ever became social.
Like we forget all the uses for marijuana beyond just medical, like all the things that hemp can do.
Food, fuel, fiber.
Yeah. All of that stuff. Very cost-efficient stuff, mind you, that we can save a lot of money on as a people. But let's not forget, the government is not here for. Technically, they're supposed to be here for the people, but they're not here for the people. They worry about what can make themselves rich and all of that stuff. So, of course, there is no money in the cure, only in the comeback. And they make a lot more money misdiagnosing people and setting them up with the wrong stuff so they can keep coming back, opposed to something that will stabilize them and help them, and they can just go on with.
These are problems pointed out often, and follow the money. I think it's good advice. Whether or not it holds true every time, it's certainly a good first choice. But let's give ourselves a little credit here. We do more than just identify problems. We all do, individually and as a group, that we try to find ways to do something about it. We're the only group, the only concern that has shown up here on a weekly basis ever. So as much as people like to show up here, they show up, they have a protest, they go home. Why don't they come back next week? Well, it'd be work. How about the week after? What are you, crazy? How about every week for 2/3 of a year and then do it again next year? Now, I say it's because our issue is more important to us than some other people's are to them. I mean, why are we here every week? It's not for fun. It really isn't. It's work. It hurts you. Believe it or not, I have better things to do. You know, I could just sit home. You know,
I'm supposed to be at the doctor's
I'd
right
regret
now.
that. I would regret sitting home doing nothing.
If we could be out here doing this, because
Yeah.
then when we complain, when we point out things like what you were just saying, that we then try to do something about it. You know, we don't just take that information, throw it out into the atmosphere and hope it lands on somebody who will take it serious. And
Yeah, we don't
affect
whine.
change.
Like
Yeah.
people that don't do anything and
Yeah.
just blah, 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 blah.
Oh,
That's
well,
whining.
yeah, well, we whine, but we back it up with action.
We do.
Yeah, technically you whine,
No.
but you take your whine to a more national thing. You know, I'm not just gonna whine by
Yeah.
myself. All y'all gonna hear me whine.
That's right.
So-
Y'all going to hear me
You
bitch and
know,
complain now.
So really, it really helps showing up, and as we know, other groups show up. There's another one today, and good for them for getting out. They're not just talking about it at home. They physically take time to show up here, and I think that really lends more of an air of importance to a situation when people are compelled to show up. But not
Definitely.
next week.
Yeah, Sandy
And,
victims.
yeah, and it's harder to come here one day and go home when you know children are crying out in pain. There's children who can't form sentences because of developmental disabilities due to problems that could have been alleviated. And when I hear Roger and Laura Barber say that Jenny would only say one word here and there, and the first time she put together a sentence and said, I love you, it brings tears to their eyes
Yeah.
when they recount that now. And they've showed up here. They showed up last week. But we have to be here like every week because it's a long week.
This argument needs a voice.
And, you know, and the time between one Thursday and the next, while it seems relatively quick to me, I turn around, it's Wednesday already and want to make sure, you know. And, but when you're sick, it's not a quick period of time,
No.
a week, a day.
A minute is
It's
an
a
hour.
whole night,
Like,
you
yeah.
know. And having spent 59 days in the hospital 3 years ago when I broke my feet, I can tell you how long a night can be and how
yeah.
long a week is, and it's like becomes a whole nother lifetime.
Oh yeah. Last night my stomach was bothering me. I was going through it, and last night was a long night. You know what I mean? I'm watching. I'll throw on like a 3-minute video on YouTube, but because I'm in pain, like that 3 minutes do seem like forever. You know what I mean? And what I have is minor in comparison to what, like when I came to this rally that was here, the NJ rally that was here that Saturday. That was the first one I've ever been to. I've never been to one before, and hearing those parents and seeing those kids, I can't imagine being in the situation that they're in. I'm going to jail personally because I'm giving my kid whatever they need, and I don't care how I have to go about it. And I don't want nobody to be in pain, nobody. But you know, adults in pain and in need of cannabis, I guess that's one thing. That's one thing. But when you have children who hasn't even been, who will never be able to experience life normally, going through all of this, and they, no matter how much their parents tell them, they don't understand why they're going through this, and they don't understand why they can't get the medicine to make themselves feel better. Those are the people that these politicians have to answer to. They have to answer to the kids that they're ignoring who don't know why they're going through this.
So don't skip even by. I mean, with all that, and you know, you couldn't be more spot on. Think like a parent for a moment. What's it like to have your child depend on you, and they're in pain, and they look to you for
Yeah.
help, and you can't help them, and you can't explain why you can't help them. You know, when I couldn't help Cheryl, she's an adult, and when she was dying, she couldn't swallow properly, and that it actually was what led to her demise. No extraordinary measures to be taken, and she'd be so thirsty, and all I could do would be swab moisture, you know, on her lips, and she'd go thirsty, and I'd explain I can only do this, and she'd go, okay, you know, so I could deal with it. But if I was doing that for a kid and you knew and you couldn't, and they look and you're right there and you can't do anything, you know, it's sick. It really is.
Yeah.
And that's why Jenny Barber not getting any attention from the governor's office, Jenny and Laura, none whatsoever. And even to the point where Whoopi Goldberg calls and asks about it. Sorry, I don't comment on pending legislation. That couldn't get me angrier.
It's and I've said this before, and I truly believe this. It's not their children.
Yeah, well,
You know, if it was their, and I'm not gonna say there. And the messed up thing about it is there probably is politicians out there with kids in this situation.
yeah, there is.
And
the
I can
ones
guarantee,
who support.
Yeah, and the ones that like Governor Christie, is not happening to them. Anyone he knows, anyone he loves, anyone he cares about. So therefore, he doesn't have to face the issue because it's not a direct problem to him. And unfortunately, and I don't want to wish this out on
wish it
anyone,
on 'em. Go ahead.
but yeah,
Go
like
ahead.
I
Go
kind
for
of
it.
do. I kind of wish that, you know, a grandchild of his can be born like this, so he can see what these parents are actually going through. You know, this ain't a game.
It happens all the time. People who are against it, their children, when they get sick and it can help. Dr. Lester Grinspoon, one of the best men on this subject and a researcher, his child died of that. Lynn Nofziger, who is an advisor to Ronald Reagan as governor and as president, who helped write many of the laws that screwed everything up. Then he had a child get sick and die, and he totally changed sides on that issue. You know, I met Mr. Nofziger before he died, and he was just, he told me this was his penance, that he has to do this every day till he dies, and he'll never be able to make up for it. And it was so sad to see him.
Yeah.
And he was like 78 or so then. And he always wore a Mickey Mouse tie. Little tiny Mickeys. You'd almost have to get right up close and go, that design's all Mickey Mouse, isn't it? So,
Yeah, there has to
Yeah,
it has
you-
to happen
yeah.
to them. But
no, you know, I refuse to say that. No.
like I said, I
No,
don't
we-
want to wish it on them, but at the
No,
same time,
I'm not saying that, no.
No, I can't wish it on anybody, actually.
But it doesn't, we can't just say, well, it has to be that way. And if our kids don't get sick, what, there's nothing we can do? Sure, we can show up every week. We can start by doing that. We can keep the pot stirred, so to speak. No pun intended, and it would have been a bad pun if I did intend it. But,
can't stir pot.
but there is things we can do. If you were the governor, what would you not want us to do? And then we do that.
I think like I said this on my very first day here. If Big Brother won't do anything, then we need to help ourselves. If you have two parents that, you know, they got like 4 or 5 kids, and the parents don't take care of the kids will begin to take care of each other. You know, and that's what I believe that we have to do. We just have to say screw them, and we have to take care of each other, because it's obvious that they're not going to do anything about it. They're not going to get up off their asses until it can line their pockets and buy them Bentleys and hoagies and stuff like that.
Yeah, again,
it's not going to
there's
help.
another way to look at people. Well, we don't have money to give them, so we're powerless. If we can take away $5,000 from them, that's as effective as giving them $5,000. I don't mean steal it. I mean give them political baggage that will cost them $5,000 to rectify. That'll cause them staff members to make that public relations situation better. You know, we can lose them funding. It's what happens all the time. People don't like a TV show. They want to protest. They call the sponsors, and you lose one sponsor for them. That's the same as having given them money in the first place.
Yeah, so honestly, we need. And it may sound funny, but we need a Robin Hood.
Well, we need a. Yeah, well, that'd be nice. We need to.
Yeah, it really would be.
We need to get more creative too.
Well, you know what's interesting? The Hazlitt police recently put an article in the paper saying that they have 50 pounds of cannabis that they want to give to whoever misaddressed it. So the Hazlitt police have 50 pounds of cannabis they could give to a sick child right now.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to go there to the Hazlitt police and ask them to donate that 50 pounds of cannabis to a sick child, maybe Jenny or Tuppy or any of these children that really could
split
use
it between
that.
them.
Split it up. There's a bunch. 50 pounds will go a long way.
That's
lot of medicine.
not a little bit. That's a lot. That's a lot of weed right there. 50 pounds. So split that evenly between them. I would absolutely love to go with you.
Well, they're.
I wish
because
I
they're-
drove.
You
I would go
do
more
know
places.
they're going to point out that that's not legal under state law to do.
To do what?
Then do it unsanctioned.
They can't. They're not. They can't legally take that
Well,
and give it to patients.
if
It's
it was-
not,
if it
not
was-
quality control. That's not grown in the system in the right way.
Then why don't they like conveniently forget and leave it in like a trash bag out back?
yeah.
Maybe they have.
Like, oh my God, we just happen to have left this there. Okay, and then
Well,
we take it and give it to them.
And they wouldn't be able to tell anybody. But wait a minute. If they wouldn't be able to tell anybody, maybe they've already done that and we don't know.
Let's ask them about that too. Could that
That
be
is-
an option?
That is possible.
Got to always look for your options.
If they're sitting there saying that they'll give it to somebody who misdressed,
Yeah, it
just
was.
put it in the bag out back and
Yeah.
we'll handle it.
Yeah, but theoretically, it does point out that.
They don't care.
Well, it points out that this is not being accessed by legitimate patients because of the cost as well,
Yes.
and that there is no real.
So lucky I have to be nice.
There, there's
happy I gotta be
low-income patients that aren't getting low-income discounts that we were led to believe would be happening. Although the new dispensary has created some ripples by being a little better than the others and a little bit cheaper, as I understand it. That's true.
Yeah.
Three.
that is true.
I heard.
What's the,
$300 for an ounce?
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper.
What is how?
I'm not sure what. I haven't bought cannabis there yet, but
Yeah, I heard 75, as low as 75 a quarter, but also some.
I gotta think it's like at least high grade stuff, like the street equivalent of exotic, I guess.
Well, it's
Well, because if it's Reggie for that much, they are really like bend over and take it, basically.
actually I think it was $100 a quarter. I heard.
Reggie is $100.
that
an
might
ounce.
work. That
Yeah.
might work.
I mean, it seems to be a, and that's an estimate. When they why not 96.50? They got computers to do the math. It's not like they got to figure out what it is. $100. It's an estimate.
And like I said,
If it was 105 and they brought it down, I appreciate it. But if it's an estimate where it was 93 and they rounded up to 100,
and I'm not talking about any
I'm
particular people but I can guarantee like a good percentage of the suits that we see probably go home right after work and spark up a fatty and sit in their nice little house and in front of their nice little TV on their punk ass couch, smoking, laughing at like the people that are actually out here trying to fight for it, like hypocrites. I know they are the biggest freaking hypocrites. Oh no, you can't smoke weed, but I'm gonna go home and do it though. I'm gonna send you to jail for it.
That happens all the time.
All the time, all the freaking time. Like no, they are the biggest hypocrites. They tell us that a prostitution is wrong and da 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 da, but yet they're the biggest customers of it.
What do you think
The
of?
biggest customers of it. You know what I mean? Like it is.
What do you think about Ohio next week?
What about Ohio?
Well, they're having I don't know if it's Proposition or Issue 3 or whatever for legalization of marijuana
In Ohio?
in Ohio.
Go Ohio.
Yeah, well, let's run this one by because that's just at the other side of Pennsylvania. We're like 2 miles from a state that will border a legal state, really a long state. Okay, the nutshell, and would be there's 2 things on the ballot, but what happened is some well-off individuals put up a couple $1 million to get the signatures to get it on the ballot, and then what's on the ballot states. I get a sign blown way over there. Somebody else supposed to notice. Anyway, there's going to be 10 approved places to grow adult use cannabis, and they're all the rich people
Of course they are.
that got the law passed. But it does.
Good for them, though.
But it presents an interesting situation because I know when I buy beer, I'm supporting the Miller Brewing Company. They're rich. My money's going to them. They're getting rich off me drinking beer. Well, if somebody's going to make money and profit off smoking cannabis legally, is that more important than whether or not you get to smoke it legally? In other words,
why?
there's a lot of
why is
people who are
alcohol
against
legal
it.
and marijuana is not? And alcohol is way worse
Yeah, I
effects.
know. Age-old question, though. What about Ohio? You know,
Go Ohio. Full support of Ohio.
I got a problem though. Here in Columbus, Ohio,
a lot of people got a problem with
the
that.
group representing NAACP branches in Ohio is urging voters to oppose a proposal on next week's ballot to legalize marijuana. The Ohio Conference NAACP president said Tuesday that legalization would represent tacit approval of a drug with potentially far-reaching negative effects on families and children.
Okay.
Was that like this century? That was.
I should have said that in a Harry Anslinger voice.
All right. And this is so serious. All right. I've been smoking ever since I was 13 years old. Okay. 13. I am 32 now. That is a lot of years of smoking. A lot of blunts, a lot of bowls, a lot of bongs, a lot of
punk ass. But go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of bowls made out of aluminum foil. I'm a MacGyver, baby. But not one time have I thought about elevating, going anything higher than that. Hell, I'd rather smoke than drink. I've turned down the thing to drink. Like, nah, that's not my thing, and I'll smoke. But yet they still sit here and try to say that marijuana has way more dangerous for what? Like, do they really believe at this point in time that it's a gateway drug, considering how many stoners that there are all in the world that are just still stoners?
Apparently they do, because that's what they just.
It is
said.
freaking retarded that they even think that.
First of all, we don't use that.
Sorry. It is mentally wrong that they think that. Like, I cannot believe that it's even still a thought. Like, it boggles my mind when you have so many people that are proven that marijuana is not a gateway drug.
Well,
I think you said it. Alcohol is more of a gateway leading to harder stuff than marijuana is.
I think one of the best arguments for doing what we want to do was the title of Peter McWilliams' book, the late great Peter McWilliams. And he titled his book, Ain't Nobody's Business If I Do. There. It's not your business what I put in my body. It's not anybody's business. Yeah, because
it's your
what
body.
I do. If it doesn't involve you in any way, shape, or form. Thanks for looking out for my welfare and to get out of my house,
Yeah.
It's my body. I get to put whatever I want in it. It's not against the law to hit yourself in the head with a hammer. And that's going to cause some brain damage, right? It's not against, but it's not.
That
against
is
the law.
fantastic. That is great.
Not against the law.
I love that. It is not against the law. I could sit in front of City Hall with a hammer and bang myself in the head, and nothing at all will happen.
You could do that also to get rid of pain. If you had pain in your head and you smash your hand with a hammer, you won't feel the pain in your head, but the side effect will be a broken hand. So that doesn't work.
No.
But it boils down to, I don't want to say personal freedoms, because you're born free. You're born with nothing but freedom for a couple of seconds.
I don't believe that.
Okay, what?
Freedom to me is the biggest lie.
Well, what do you define freedom? What does that mean?
I think the fact that.
And what does it mean?
I think the fact that this right here shows. This argument right here, and all the arguments that we go through, all the laws, the penalties, everything that they put us through for petty stuff and minor stuff, is showing that freedom is the biggest lie. I mean, we for the longest time, and there's probably people that still think so, that think we pick our president. We don't. We don't pick nothing. We have no say, but they make us believe that we have say. They make us believe we have pull when we really don't. They give us the illusion of freedom when we're not free. We're living by their laws and what they want, and then as soon as we break those laws, we go to jail. And I'm not talking about serious laws. I'm talking about little stuff, stupid stuff.
I wish, it's like if it was, I guess, more on topic, I'd play a comedy thing Doug Stanhope did on that same, exactly what you're saying. He couldn't agree with you more. And one time when somebody was giving him crap in a bar, talking about not being free in this country, he said, okay, Sergeant York or whatever he called him. You know. He goes, you take your beer that you spent your hard-earned money on to buy and drink here. You go out in the parking lot, sit on the hood of your monster truck and drink that beer and see how free you are.
Exactly. That is exactly my point.
Because you can. But as it applies to cannabis, you know, as Lefty does his brilliant Harry Anslinger impression, it was a war on cannabis was based on racism.
Oh yeah.
And fear of
cocaine as well.
Jazz musicians and Mexicans, and we were made to fear that our white women would be lured by cannabis into their lair.
Trust me, it ain't cannabis. I use to lure white girls.
Yeah. You know, it's a racist war. It started out that way, and it affects people, minorities and people of color disproportionately. So it still is a racist
because
war for different reasons.
It's thought of, and like I really do hate racism, even though I joke about it, but it's brought in like Mexicans and, you know, people minority. We're the ones that's bringing it in. We're the one that's popularizing it. We're the one that's making it what it is and everything. When it's not even the case. It's so not the case.
No, it's not.
But it's the fear factor.
It's nobody's business. You know, I don't know how many times I'd be talking to somebody about this, and when there's actually people there, and I'd say, you know, at the time I'd live in a little house behind a house, and I'd say, you know what the guy in the house in front of me was doing last night? And they'd, what? How the hell would I know? Why should I know? Why should you give a shit? Why would you even say what?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I'm right there.
Whatever he was doing wasn't affecting anybody outside the house, and he lived alone. So it doesn't matter.
No, I care. I do care about people, but at the same time, man, I don't care what a person does in their life. It's their life. Like, if that's what you want to do, bro, do it.
So anyway, what do we got? We got a governor who stands in the way of real implementation of meaningful regulations.
Is he? Let's hope he's out of here.
He's out of town all the time.
He's in Dallas because they got a game this week. So he's watching the Cowgirls try and play football.
Is he going to be there still? Yeah, we could do something with that sign. Somebody get creative. I don't have to give up my seat to fix a damn sign. I made all the signs. I put them all up. If one of them's blown in the breeze, we ought to be able to figure out what to do about that. And still read the sign. There you go. Just like that.
Yeah, that bag is
so
heavy.
what's my computer help here doing? What are you getting? I'm getting something set up?
Sorry.
You just doing other stuff?
I'm trying to catch up with some crap here.
Doing a little homework while we're here?
No, Rowan. I'm trying to meet with Rowan after here.
Lefty is on here right now playing farm animals.
No, I'm not.
He's playing Candy Crush on his laptop.
Why does nobody tell me when I still wear a visitor tag outside there? You know, not once has somebody said, Jim, take that tag off.
I thought it was a fashion statement.
I thought you wanted to wear it.
Yeah, I thought it was a fashion statement.
You sound like Ed Fortune. The other day, Ed Fortune's mad at me because he had a sign that said E and marijuana. It wasn't an A, it was an E at the end. It was marijuana E. He got mad at me because I didn't say nothing. He didn't get mad at himself. He got mad at me for not saying nothing.
For not saying. Well, did you know it and not tell him?
Wow, Ed. Wow.
I saw it, and I'm like, I figured that's what he wanted. He must have some meaning. I trust Ed implicitly, and I figure, there must be some deep meaning behind it. No, he just screwed up. And now he's mad at me for even talking about it. I'm probably going to hear shit because he doesn't want anybody to know he screwed up a sign. Like, remember how you screwed up a sign?
Don't worry, Ed. I don't know that you screwed up a sign.
Like Jim Miller did back in the last year.
I was hoping we'd pass by that stop right there.
But you didn't get mad at me, did you?
No.
What did the sign say? What did the sign say?
Okay, what happened? Let me be fair about this.
I love when that comes out. What happened was
I make a lot of signs, and for some reason it had to do with we were at the Cannabis Expo, it was a Perth Amboy or something like that, and had a table there, and Lefty wanted to show have an impairment test for cannabis, and it had to do with me writing the alphabet backwards, Z, Y, X, W, and I can't even say it. And for some reason, I could not, to write the alphabet backwards, you just write A, B, from the bottom right to the left.
I'm so not good at that.
But what happened is I'd consumed some oil before that, and I was, and everybody's laughing at me. I was having a pretty good time. I'm not gonna say I wasn't. And every time I did it, it was wrong, and it was impossible to do right. And they just got such great joy out of filming me do this too. But I know you're right. I didn't get mad if you can't laugh at yourself. You know.
Laugh at everybody else.
Yeah. Well. I get to laugh at myself a lot. I do a lot of questionable things.
I laugh at myself a lot, but it's not, by choice. Just people make fun of me a lot, and I have no choice but to laugh, like Lefty.
But but for MARIJUANE.
Do not feel bad. You can put money on the line, and I can guarantee I can't write from Z to A. Like,
well, I know I couldn't do that.
I have to say my ABCs when I'm trying to put like things in alphabetical order, and I forget. I'm like, wait, A, B, C, D. All right, there it goes there. So going backwards to front, definitely ain't gonna work for me.
Yeah,
I'm weird going front to back.
I don't mind at all.
Excuse me for a minute, fellas.
Where you going?
Go medicate and talk to Dan Brady.
Dan
Brady's in the house.
Dan the man is here with the
Let's get
guitar.
Mr. Wilski over
All right, so go do what you got to do.
With the guitar. You gonna string something for us?
Yeah, I think we'll probably go back to the original format where maybe Dan can just play a little bit and
give us a nice little serenade in the background.
Speak about Ken Walski in the house as well.
Kenny.
Here we are.
I just want to say that once again, the point where I got on the podcast is the highest rated section. I'm sorry. I have the highest rated segment. So, go Donald.
Yeah, right. That did sound familiar, Without it, it was a catastrophe, a disaster.
Yeah. I had to add that I, am a ratings boost. I'm a ratings boost. You hear that, Ed? I'm a ratings boost. You need to put me on your show, man. I'm a ratings guru.
Now, have we been talking about the John Pedito trial today?
No. We were hoping that you would come by, so we didn't slog into that yet.
I actually know nothing about this.
We don't have chairs here. Sorry about that.
Then pull me in. You fill me in. I have no idea.
John Pedito is on trial in Toms River Superior Court for basically he was found to be growing 17 marijuana plants. Now, and so the charges that they have against him are he's facing 20 years in prison for growing the 17 marijuana plants.
In prison.
Yeah. He's facing plus a year and a half for possession, plus another 10
God forbid if we forget the
10 years. So for possession with intent to distribute the 17 marijuana plants.
So 31 years?
Plus, they added another 6 years onto that because they found 3 pounds of marijuana in his house when they did a search warrant on his house. So he is facing a total of 37.5 years in prison.
Was it a legal search and seizure?
Well, apparently it was. Yes. I mean that they argued that in court. They tried to get the evidence of his seizure thrown out, but the judge would not allow it to be thrown out. So John did not argue that he was growing. He did not say that he wasn't growing the 17 marijuana plants. He admitted that he was growing the 17 marijuana plants, and he just wanted to argue that the law is wrong, basically.
I agree.
So how was that? What's the status? Tell us where we are on all this.
Well, the trial wrapped up. Let's see. Today is Thursday. It wrapped up Tuesday afternoon, about 3 o'clock. The jurors went off to decide into their jury seclusion room about 3 o'clock on Tuesday, and they couldn't make a decision. So they came back on Wednesday morning, and they deliberated all day Wednesday, and then they came back this morning, and the judge said, "Keep going until you reach a decision." So John this morning was really furious with the court for deciding that, because the jurors had obviously reached an impasse after deliberating for 8 hours on Wednesday and another hour and a half on Tuesday, and they can't make a decision.
So he's gonna.
He's forcing them.
He's forcing
them to stay in the jury deliberation room until they come to a decision. And the other thing was the jury has no idea how many years that this man faces for growing 17 marijuana plants in the woods, in the pines.
Certainly not. He doesn't deserve that.
Yeah.
He doesn't deserve that.
Why do you think it's taking this long? I mean, the jury's obviously hung.
Yes. Yeah. Well, John appealed to them, and even though John was representing himself, it was really quite a trial. His public defender was there to assist him, but John really was not paying much attention to the public defender. The public defender wasn't helping him at all in cross-examination.
Doesn't the public defender work for the prosecution? Like, don't they work for them?
No. The public defender. Public defenders do work for the defendant, and they try to get, but they play by the same rules. So only certain evidence is admissible in court, Donald. So it's like if John had a medical defense, or if any of the people he was supplying marijuana for had a medical defense, or a medical necessity, a need for using this marijuana, the judge would not allow him to talk about that at all. If they had a religious need for marijuana, the judge would not allow them to talk about that at all.
So wait, so basically it's like they're trying to paint him as some petty pot dealer.
Yes, exactly. Oh no, they're trying to paint him as more than that. They're not a petty pot dealer. They consider him a manufacturing facility.
Oh, so he's like the Pablo Escobar of marijuana right now?
That's what they want to. Yes, absolutely. They want to send him away for at least 20 years, for growing these 17 plants, because he's arguing that he's just a small-time grower and that he uses most of what he grows. But the prosecution is saying no. He stands to make thousands and thousands of dollars off of this marijuana, and so they really are painting him as a big-time marijuana dealer. And
I think that's so funny.
Yeah, well,
I think runaway sign.
Yeah, it's not. It's certainly not funny to John. It's a very trying experience.
It's not funny at all. It's not even funny a little bit.
Yeah.
There's Lefty and Jim are great guys. They joke a lot, but the fact of the matter is, not one thing that they've talked about is a joke.
Yeah.
Everything is dead serious. And me too. I add humor to a lot of things, but that does not mean it's funny. I just believe that to keep from crying, man, we got to laugh sometimes.
How did John make a plea to the jury where he's not allowed to mention the potential sentence or jury nullification or anything? How did he approach that without getting reprimanded by the judge?
Well, he was reprimanded severely. In his opening statement, he was interrupted at least 6 times by the judge. He mentioned medical one time, and the prosecutor jumped up and said, "This is not about medical," and the judge agreed he couldn't talk about that. So it was very difficult to get it out to the jury.
But most of his customers, if not all of them, most of his customers were medical users, right?
Well, I don't really know that. I don't really know. We didn't identify. John did not identify any of his customers. He did not identify any of the people he sold marijuana to, to protect them.
Yeah, right. That's smart.
And so we don't really know why they were using it.
Look, I firmly believe, that regardless of how you use it, it is all for medical reasons. I don't smoke weed because I do enjoy it. But one of the reasons why is because it's the greatest antidepressant in the world. It is.
Amen to that, and safer than so many pharmaceutical antidepressants.
They gave me antidepressants, and all it did was leave me anxious, restless. I wasn't able to sleep. I was so zombied out for a couple of days until I stopped taking the stuff.
And you're lucky it didn't lead to suicide, because oftentimes antidepressants can lead to suicide.
Which I'm depressed. I don't need help to think about suicide. I need help to not think about suicide.
Right.
But you're going to give me a pill that's going to further increase my thoughts of suicide. It's almost like they're saying, hey, you know what? You're depressed. You're thinking about it. Here, take this so you can finally do it and get out of our face. That's exactly what it seems like, because there's no way that they should let a drug on the market that is going to help someone kill themselves. That doesn't make no sense. To whereas marijuana, I've never thought. Look, I'm gonna be honest. I've thought about killing myself and then smoked and felt better, and actually was like, you know what? I was tripping. I need to just reassess everything. And smoking weed has given me the motivation to do stuff because I was able to slow down my thoughts and actually figure it out what my next move can be. And I am only still here today because of marijuana. That's 100% truth.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for that heartfelt testimony. Hey, it's hard to be depressed when you're euphoric at the same time.
Is somebody that we know at the trial now, so we'd know if a verdict was reached?
Well, yes. Let me see. Jim Babb from the Fully Informed Jury Association said he was going to go there, and I gave him my telephone number in case the jury did reach a decision. But the media has been following this quite closely. In fact, this morning's confrontation between John and the judge was already on NewJersey.com.
What was the confrontation about this morning?
Well, that John had laid into the judge with a quote unquote expletive laced tirade.
The jury's already deliberating, so was this?
Apparently in the hearing of the jury. So
before deliberation.
Yeah, this morning, when the jury assembled again, apparently, the judge decided that despite the fact that they were not able to reach a decision, he was sending them back into the juror deliberation room.
Oh, so John
to continue.
said something about that.
Yeah, so John went off on the judge and accused him of insisting that the jury come back with a decision that it wants to, that he wants. Let me see, the judge also allowed a very damning videotape to be again shown to the jury when John was really beside himself after being locked up and admitted, basically admitted to he was under intense questioning by two detectives, in a room in the jail, and he basically admitted everything, but he was under, a great deal of duress during that time, and he said it was the worst day of his life, and it was just further evidence of why when police give you the right to remain silent, you should definitely exercise that right. But anyway, so then he was upset that the judge was allowing them to replay that very damning videotape that the police produced. So
he was replaying that after they hadn't reached a decision.
Yes.
That I'm not a lawyer, but that doesn't seem right.
Well, apparently it is, Jim. The jury does have the right to review the evidence that was presented in trial. So
somebody
that was presented in trial, and the jury does have the right to review that.
Oh, the jury, somebody requested it then.
Yes, yeah,
okay.
Obviously, there's a big battle going on there now, between the forces of mercy and the forces of the American mass incarceration machine that we're seeing played out here in Superior Court in Toms River at the John Pedito trial.
So if the jury comes back with a guilty verdict, they remand him to custody?
Well, they may do that. They may immediately take him away. The public defender, Ms. Barbieri, said to me that John can make a good case for being out on bail at least until the sentencing. Sentencing usually happens maybe 4 to 6 weeks after the decision is made, and because he's been, he's made all his court appearances. It's been 3 years now since he was, discovered with that marijuana in the woods. So, he's not a flight risk. He's not a danger to himself or others. He certainly should be given consideration of at least being out on bail until sentencing. But he's also angered the judge quite a bit.
Yeah.
Especially with that last tirade, the tirades. I didn't witness that, but you know what? I did witness one thing. Well, just to answer your question though, Jim, before I go off on that, I did want to let you know that it was very difficult to ask the jury to decide to pass judgment on the law as well as the facts of the case. The facts were quite clear,
yeah.
and John admitted to the facts of the case. But he did ask the jury for mercy. He said he was only growing plants. He said that the scheduling of marijuana was completely wrong, that it was ridiculous to consider marijuana more dangerous than methamphetamine and crystal meth and cocaine and all the other drugs every other drug there is. Marijuana is considered either more dangerous than or less dangerous than, or as dangerous as. So, he was arguing that his scheduling was wrong.
Yet you can't OD on marijuana.
Right. Saying that, marijuana was... and basically he asked the jury for mercy. And at one point, also the testimony of some of his witnesses, his defense witnesses. Now, all they could do, they were character witnesses. And so they couldn't talk about the case at all, and they couldn't talk about, of course, the law, but they could talk about what an honest man John Petito was, and they did to a man. They spoke of this, and his girlfriend's testimony. She said that John was incapable of telling a lie, and that she couldn't bear to have him lose him for the rest of his life. So she gave some kind of indication to the jury about the kind of sentence that John faced.
Could be a life sentence in effect for one reason or another.
As a matter of fact, one of his other defense witnesses mentioned something about 30 years that John faced.
Really?
Yeah,
not allowed to do that.
No, she wasn't allowed to do that. As a matter of fact, the
judge didn't.
The prosecutor.
Flinch?
The prosecutor. Well,
The prosecutor.
He shut her up immediately. And later, out of hearing of the jury, the prosecutor almost asked for a mistrial on that for that very reason. But he said he didn't think that a mistrial was necessary as long as the judge very clearly instructed the jury that they were not to, gave very clear instructions to the jury that they were not to consider anything except what he told them to consider. So they didn't get a mistrial, and right now jury deliberations are continuing. And
I'd like to be able to sit down and chat with one of those jurors afterwards and know what went on.
That would be very
And
interesting.
is there anybody going to be able? Well, they're going to find out eventually what the potential sentence is for that. While they're not supposed to know now, generally the jurors are a little ticked off when they find out that this was kept from them. It certainly should be part of the knowledge of what you're doing. I mean, you're sentencing somebody, in effect, by saying they're guilty. You are the ones that are deciding that they get a sentence against them without knowing what that potentially might be.
Right.
I mean,
it's a life sentence. I mean, rapists and murderers don't go to jail for 37 years, for their crimes. And here, for a nonviolent gardening without a license is basically what he was doing. That's what he was telling the jury. I'm a gardener. I'm a grower. I've been doing this since I was 17 years old. He's 54 now. And,
See, 54. Well, wait. They're about to send a 54-year-old man to prison for 37 years.
That's yes.
Yes, that's life.
That's what the prosecutor is asking for, Donald.
Holy Christ!
I know it's unbelievable what the situation is. It's the American mass incarceration machine.
And I was told by somebody, not to be angry, but instead try to find an outlet. But I got to be honest with you, I'm a very passionate person. I can't help but be angry, and angry as hell about this. I show Jim and Lefty respect for inviting me to their show, so I try not to say anything too extreme or act the way that I really want to act inside. Because what I really want to do, what I really would love to do, is give them an uncensored walk inside my head. But out of respect for Jim and Lefty, I will not do that. But I will say that they need Jesus. That's the most tame thing I could possibly say to them.
well,
I mean, it really talks about the inherent classism and racism in the criminal justice system. Who gets arrested, who gets prosecuted, who gets convicted.
I wish I could say that it's racism. I mean, I do believe that there's racism, but let's be honest, bro. It's classism.
It's classism.
If you're rich, you can play with them. If you're not, you can't. Point blank. Period.
Yeah.
Money can buy freedom. Money can buy health.
Yeah.
Money can buy a lot. And if you don't have it, you're gonna die.
so
Point blank.
the jury has to be unanimous then.
A jury has to be unanimous in its
For-
decision.
for a
yes,
guilty
yeah,
verdict.
For guilty and for not guilty.
And for not guilty.
Right.
So hung jury.
Hung jury is,
assuming
the
the
best we
judge
can hope
comes
for.
to his senses, if he has any senses, and realizes what a hung jury is, you know, and making them stay longer is like saying to them, you know, we're going to wear you down, and we're going to break you down, and if you want to go home, you'll find him guilty, because they're, I would say, likely closer to a guilty than an innocent verdict. I can't imagine only one person saying guilty. I can imagine one or two
Yeah.
holding out. And maybe, and I'm hoping there's somebody on that jury who does know about jury nullification.
Yeah.
And I bet, because they say that we're supposed to be judged by jury of our peers, I bet you those are not his peers.
No, no.
Those are so not his peers. Those are the other side of the circle judging him.
Yeah. Well, you know, where a more money would have really helped John, I think, would have been
Yes.
in jury selection. You know, having some really experienced lawyer there, you know, who was really very astute and knew how to pick jurors. You know what he wound up with? He wound up with a jury of 11 women and 1 man, and all of those women were middle-aged white women, you know, who really looked like they had no real, you know, skin in the game, no awareness of
So they got
jury nullification.
Kind of got like the most ignorant people on the subject. Not
Ignorant
like all out
yeah,
ignorant, but
yeah,
ignorant to
not
the
all-
subject
right,
of
not
what
all-
they're
right.
judging.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yeah, and they do that by design too. You know,
Yeah.
they exclude so many people. Like there were, you know, every juror had to go in front of the judge during a sidebar and answer open-ended questions that he gave them. 3 open-ended questions, and 2 of the questions were about, well, is there anything about the nature of the offense that you just heard, you know, growing 17 marijuana plants, intent to distribute, that would affect your judgment, that would impair your ability to judge it, either for it or negative. And is there anything about, and the other question was, is there anything about the fact that a couple of states have legalized marijuana and 23 states have now medical marijuana programs that would lead you to be unable to make a fair decision based on the facts of this case? And they had to talk about that, you know?
And I can already imagine the people that do support it and all that, they were kicked out of the jury.
Absolutely.
Because if he really was being judged by a jury of his peers, then he'd be getting off, and that's not what they want.
Right.
So they're not going to pick people who are sympathetic to his cause or anything like that. They're going to pick people who are on the other side, on their side of things.
Right.
Well,
And not
that's the way it works,
right,
yeah.
Yeah. And not only is, you know, jury nullification, you know, any indication of it being sympathetic, they threatened to arrest Jim Babb, you know, one of the days when he went there to hand out jury nullification pamphlets in Toms River near the courthouse. You know, they removed him from the property. They told him he had to go way past, you know, the school down the block, and it's like, you know,
Past where everything is going on.
Turn
Yeah.
left,
Right.
and walk another couple blocks,
You know,
turn right.
Close your eyes,
Yeah.
spin 3 times, and walk in whatever direction
Walk
you
the
stop
same.
at, and then you'll be where you're supposed to be.
Oh, I'm pretty sure Weedman's there today too, in Toms River. He was there one other day. He and Lefty,
probably
Lefty
is.
were,
You know-
were smoking out in front of the courthouse. But
You know,
unfortunately, it was a day that the jury wasn't there, so I'm not sure what kind of impact that had.
Yeah, you know Mr. Fortune.
Mhm.
You're always in the thick of things. Shouts to Ed, Phil, Big L,
Yeah.
Weedman's joint,
Yeah.
my man Ghost.
So if it goes beyond today, you think the judge will keep until Monday? Or bring him in tomorrow?
No, I think he has to make a decision today, because I don't think he works on Friday and Monday. Last Friday and Monday he was off, so I think it would really be you know, absurd for him to say tell the jury to come back Tuesday. I think they have to make a decision today, or he's going to declare it a hung jury.
And then it'd be up to the prosecutor to decide whether to retry or not.
Exactly, it would be up to him to decide whether to retry it. So. Yeah, you know, everything seemed to be working against John during this trial. You know, the jury, like I said, was just middle-aged women who really, you know, didn't have any connection to, you know, I mean, were basically homebodies and maybe worked a little outside in the home.
Right.
And then, you know, the prosecutor he seemed to be a very fair, very, you know, very organized guy, presented a very good case, you know, didn't elaborate on things, didn't overly dramatize things. He was just very, very methodical and very, very precise. And then the detective that they had, I mean, this guy was like a John Wayne kind of character. He was like tall and strong and good-looking guy and soft-spoken, just somebody whose integrity nobody could question. And, and here's John, a slight guy. He was gaunt from all of this. And he never wore a tie once during the entire, the judge told him there was a
dress code?
A dress code, but apparently the dress code only extended to wearing a jacket. He had to wear a jacket, but he didn't have to wear a tie. So, he's the first person I ever saw, first defendant I ever saw who wasn't wearing a tie. I mean, unless they were in a prison jumpsuit. So, how you doing, Jay? So anyway, it just really seemed like everything was all the stars were lined against John, and just to have the jury last this long without a decision is a victory, and I think that it's I don't know, just some kind of victory for mercy in Tom's River.
Yeah, that with everything you describe, the jury should have been back in a couple hours at the longest.
Right. That's what I told John.
So
I said
there's got to be at least one person on that jury who's not buying it.
Right.
That knows better, and I can imagine the heat he's getting, but when he's he or she, more than likely a she.
Oh, that must be terrible. I mean, if you're being subjected to, your peers, badgering you for all day long.
They do get to do that.
And objectively they're right. All the evidence points against John. I mean, he doesn't even deny that he did these things. He's just asking them. He's telling them that what they're doing to him is wrong. He's growing plants he's appealing to them that these are not dangerous things. These are things that he uses instead of alcohol to relax in the evening, and he should not be going to jail for 30 years for this.
Well, the jury's halfway through their day almost now. They're probably on a lunch recess.
Yeah. So lunch, So anyway, there's there've been a lot of attempts to pass out jury information literature like we have here for anybody who comes by when at the courthouse. So the judge basically sequestered the jury on the last day of the trial. He said, I'm not going to let you go out for lunch.
They should have a volume button. I mean, there's no need for it to be. That is so loud in the canyon of buildings here, and there's no cross streets. And there's nobody in front of them. I mean, beeping a horn would work just as well. And they're not even speeding. I'm going to sue. I got ear down. I got these on, and that was too loud.
So anyway, the judge said, we're going to provide lunch for you all. And he saw all the jurors brighten up, like, oh, they're going to buy us lunch. This is great. He said, so you're going to place your orders from ShopRite. And everybody went, oh, no, not ShopRite.
They got to cook their own food, too,
I think...
here
they are. Here's a man making, well over $100,000 a year as a judge. He may be making $200,000 a year for all I know. And he's offering him ShopRite lunch.
They can't even get pizza.
You could at least make it if you want to.
And he wasn't actually offering. He was.
Oh no.
He was saying, "This is what you're going to eat."
Right. This is what you're going to eat.
ShopRite.
I don't care I don't care how you feel about ShopRite.
Do they get to go to ShopRite, or they bring it back?
No. Well, there was a a paper that they could order their lunch from, $10 max.
$10 max. Yeah. Well, that really will bolster the $5 a day they get for being on the jury. Yeah. Actually, it goes up after 3 days when you're on a jury, so they may be getting Yeah, I think the first 3 days are like $5, and after that it's considerably more, like $40 or something. I was never on a jury, but I came real close, and turned out they didn't select me somehow.
Yeah, I've been thrown off of juries too.
I didn't want to go. I mean, I kind of threw myself off.
No, I wanted to go. I mean, I wanted to go a number of times, and just never made it.
I had somewhere to be.
No.
If I didn't have anywhere to be, I'd done the same thing as you. I'd be like, and I'd be hoping they'd say, "Do you have any strong feelings about cannabis, one way or the other?"
I had to say that, Jim. They asked me, and I said, "No,
no.
I don't think my feelings about cannabis are any stronger."
Is that the same as marijuana? You're talking about marijuana, right?
I got as far as sitting in the jury foreman seat before I got
Really?
thrown off. Ironically, by the defense, who I was trying to
Help out, You couldn't give them little like signs, like little okay signs. Point at the prosecutor and go, come on, man, we'll get him.
So anyway,
Well, I have hope that this will turn out to be a hung jury then, because I'm
that's
surprised.
our best hope. That
I'm so
whoever is holding
surprised.
out can hold out another couple of hours and not be forced into making a decision that they do not want to make. So, I mean, I realize how tough it is and what those jurors must be going through. And I have tremendous respect for what they're going through. And I just hope that they can find the inner strength to hold out on behalf of John and to do the right thing.
Well, you haven't got a call yet, so gotta have hope.
Yeah.
That'd be a scary situation. That much of your life in the balance. Every time the door opens, they come back. Is it a question, or is it, does he get taken away or not?
Right.
And he didn't take the plea bar. Do you know what his plea bargain offer was?
I think they offered him 3 years, but he was an emotional wreck after 3 days in the jail.
Yeah.
He was lucky to make bail and get out after a couple of days. He said he had an emotional breakdown after just a couple of days, in jail when he was first arrested. So and that's the other thing which I pointed out in my article. The punishment doesn't fit the crime. I said that if John does go to jail, is sentenced to prison, he's going to have mental health issues in there. He doesn't have mental health issues now, but he will.
He will when he gets
He will.
out. He will there and when he gets out.
So he's going to be seeing a psychiatrist on a routine basis. He's going to be given, expensive psychotropic meds, for a problem that he didn't have before he went into the prison system. And the average cost of a year in prison, according to the New Jersey Department of Corrections, Jim, is $53,000.
That's regular.
Yeah, right.
The average
Right.
cost. You're not talking about extra medical care
Right,
that
exactly.
he's going to be needing, and,
Right.
and the drugs that they will have to pay for. So
Right.
it's going to be far above that. And for anybody doing the math, I mean, if he gets 37.5 years, that's just short of $2 million.
Yeah, right. Just around $2 million, exactly.
Yeah, we don't.
You're
we,
good at math.
Yeah. I could have shown off and probably done better than that, but
So, yeah,
Actually,
$2 million. That's just the cost of incarcerating him. And I mean, not assuming that he doesn't have the extra mental health issues that require frequent visits from a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a mental health worker. All the things that the Department of Corrections is required to provide for him. And I know that well because, I was a quality assurance monitor with the New Jersey Department of Corrections. And, we have a very good Department of Corrections. We have one of the best departments of corrections in the entire country, according to people who measure those things. But we pay for that, too.
they're well paid to be that best, too.
They have excellent facilities. They have excellent equipment. They have excellent training. I was a beneficiary of much of that when I worked for 22 years for the DOC. But
Yeah, you're part of the cost.
I was, yeah. Well, I still am.
You still have a pension.
I got my pension.
Yeah.
So anyway, we have an excellent Department of Corrections, but we pay for that Department of Corrections, and we pay for we do things by the book, and we do things the right way, and it's costly to have. When I left, there were 27,000 inmates. I think that number's down a little bit from 2006, but on the other hand, we hide inmates in different ways. We hide them in substance abuse treatment programs. You make them go in there. They're not in prison anymore, but they're under the jurisdiction of the criminal justice system. So it's hard to say whether the numbers actually went down or they just moved inmates around.
That's just staggering, though. I mean, with John costing as much as he would, you got to wonder. It's something actually that our governor doesn't seem to talk about when he talks about the budget very much. He does talk about treatment over incarceration, but what does treatment cost? What does an in-house treatment program would probably cost more than incarceration,
No,
wouldn't it?
no, it
Is
is
it
cheap.
less?
It's significantly cheaper than incarceration, and that's one of the ways that he wants to save money. He wants to force these treatment programs onto people with drug offenses. So that's like 18% of the prison population in New Jersey are there for drug offenses. Not counting the people who are there who had their lives destroyed by the original drug offense and have nothing else to do, no other way to make a living except illegally, and so they engage in other illegal activities. But anyway, that's one of the ways that he would save money. I think treatment over incarceration, it does amount to a significant savings. I'm not sure of the exact figures of them.
Yeah, I just the whole treatment over incarceration thing bothers me because there's no real statistics on recidivism rates for individual types of treatment. So if somebody chose treatment over incarceration and said, what are the chances I won't do, I'll be well forever when I get out, there's no answer. There should be an answer.
Right.
And if it's more than half, if you have a better chance of failure than success, it shouldn't be hailed as a really great thing. Because on that, you would say many will then be in trouble again because of their recidivism, and they won't get a chance the second time. So they'll get both treatment and incarceration afterwards.
Right.
Which is even more. Yeah, it's depressing.
It is.
What we do is depressing. There's not enough victories to temper the suffering that we know is going on so many levels.
Well, I mean, we have to be encouraged by what's going on around the country. Right here in New Jersey, we're really stymied by a governor who refuses to consider any type of marijuana reform. But we have this. We have issue 3 coming up in Ohio, Jim. Ohio's only like one state away from New Jersey. You got New Jersey, you got Pennsylvania, and then you got Ohio.
It's a long state, that Pennsylvania, though. It's a long state.
There are some issues about how they want to do it, and some people are concerned that they're going to, just substitute a legal cartel for the current illegal cartel. But
the difference between the illegal cartel and the legal cartel is the people that buy from the legal cartel will not be subject to a prosecution or any problems whatsoever. So, and I understand.
And also that Ohio has a home cultivation provision. So that really.
That's huge. You can grow 4 plants and have 8 ounces of usable material.
Exactly.
And
so however the cartel is set up, or the business aspect of the legal marijuana in Ohio, assuming that issue 3 passes, there's still going to be the ability for anyone who has a license to grow at least 4 plants in their home, and so that's really big.
That's 4 plants at one time.
Right.
You can grow 3. In effect, you could easily grow 9 plants in 1 year's time indoors, if you had an indoor setup. It would provide pretty much for all your needs, no matter how you consume cannabis. And the problem I hear, of course, people are having is 10 wealthy concerns or individuals will be the ones making the money, doing the growing, and reaping the benefits. They're also the individuals that put up the $2 million plus it took to get this initiative on the ballot.
Right. Right. It's capitalism in action.
It's like
I don't think capitalism is a great system. I really think socialism is a better system than capitalism. But capitalism is a system we live under, and this is an expression of capitalism. This is also an expression of, the laboratories of democracies that the states, are. This is an experiment in
that's
in
the part I like
legalization,
best. That it is. States get to try something, and other states get to see how it works.
Yeah.
It becomes less theoretical. And when you have a prototypical event going on like the Colorado and Washington State first tried, and it made Alaska and D.C. and others, and now Ohio. They're not seeing the sky fall in Colorado. Ohio would never have gone first. So what they're doing that, if I want to go have a Miller Lite tonight, I'm not going to decry the fact that the Miller Brewing Company is a huge corporation
Right.
and my money's
Right.
going to fatten their wallets.
Right.
I just want to have a beer.
Right.
And if I wanted to have a smoke and I could legally in New Jersey purchase it or grow it myself, well, one, I'd grow it. But while waiting for the crop to come in,
Yeah.
if there was somewhere to purchase it,
Right.
yeah, if somebody's going to make money, that is capitalism, and
Right.
it does. It also usually, keeps the price fair. But I do see their concerns about being monopolistic in nature. That if there was collusion between the 10 concerns, they could certainly set a price that's higher than what it should be. But they're not jeopardizing people in Ohio their freedom by doing this.
Right,
They may
right,
pay more
right.
than they should, but they're not going to go to jail. They're not going to have the system get their claws into them
Right.
like John.
Plus, the symbolic value of it, Jim, too, is really inestimable. If Ohio, here it is, a swing state, a Midwest state. If the citizens of Ohio decide that they want to legalize marijuana, that's going to have tremendous repercussions throughout the country after this November.
It's a close vote, too.
Yeah, it's very close.
The last poll I saw had it 46, and 8 undecided, 8%
Yeah.
undecided. And
So, we certainly hope that, the cannabis community and the people who are interested in reform will get behind this issue 3. And
well, they're supposed to be, lethargic because of smoking cannabis. So, won't that be the surprise? That'd be the way to show, is to get organized and get out to the polls. I hope there are some get out to the poll events going on in Ohio.
I mean, but look at it, Prop 19 in California in 2010. That was defeated by an alliance of the prison industrial complex and the California growers, who had their profits threatened.
Strange bedfellows.
Yeah, had their profits threatened, with illegal marijuana in California. And so they were the one, they defeated Prop 19, 5 years ago. And 5 years later, we still don't have legal marijuana in California. It's... I certainly hope that people really see that how much good this will do. What a tremendous impact this will have on our criminal justice system. What a tremendous savings it would have. What a tremendous source of income, really. From all the marijuana sales. Taxed marijuana sales. Yeah.
Did you see that there was a young man that was sentenced to 22 years in prison for growing marijuana? His sister was involved too, and she's awaiting trial. And he had gone to trial, and the jury actually found him guilty, and the judge overturned it and set him free.
Wow.
Did you hear about this?
No. Is that New Jersey?
I don't know. Lefty knows a lot about it. It was all over Facebook. I forget the young man's name, but it was pretty big news because his sister's getting ready to be charged with the same thing.
About that.
And they're wondering, well, if he got found guilty and the judge could totally overthrow that, and overturn it and let the young man free because he feels that the law is unjust or the sentence is unjust, then that should help John in his case.
Yeah, I really don't know any details. I don't even know if that's in New Jersey or anything about it, so it's hard for me to comment on it. But,
yeah, when Lefty gets back, we'll ask him more about it because he said he had spoke about it today.
Yeah.
But that's interesting, isn't it? And that should set an example for other judges to be able to do that.
Yeah, I'd have to know more about it before I could really reasonably comment on it. I mean, it certainly is unlikely for a jury to render a verdict and then the judge to throw out the verdict.
It could be looked up because Shell put it up on her Facebook.
Okay.
And Shell from the 420. She sends birthday cards and.
Not by name. I don't know people by name.
Yeah, you didn't hear about that, where the judge overturned a sentence of a young man who got sentenced to 22 years for growing plants. Found guilty, judge overturned it.
He knocked it down, or he just
Overruled it and threw it out.
See if he's still a judge today.
Yeah.
Yeah, just we'll have to find out more about it. Lefty said he knew about it. He can look it up on his computer. I think it's pretty interesting because it might help John's case.
I don't know. That judge doesn't sound like he's going to be swayed by that.
That judge is not going to be swayed by it. He's really a by the book judge, and I don't really have anything particularly about this judge. I think the judge is really making an effort to be fair. I mean, his instructions to the jury in the John Pedito case, everything was read off a piece of paper. I mean, he is so precise, about these instructions to the jury. I mean, everything was, all of it. His rulings, I think, were reasonable. It's just that the system itself is so unfair.
Yes.
The system itself that does not allow, no judge would allow this, kind of medical testimony at the trial. If John tried to bring up one aspect of medical use of marijuana, and the judge cut him off. The prosecutor jumped up and said, "This is not a medical marijuana case."
I'd like to see happen one time, and I don't know that it's ever happened. Somebody like John or somebody like John Wilson, they put their hand on the Bible and do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. What would happen if somebody said, "I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, but I'm not allowed to tell the whole truth"?
Yeah.
Because how can you say I swear to tell the whole truth when you're not allowed to tell the whole truth? That would be accurate. And to ask somebody to put their hand on the Bible and swear to God something that's not true.
Well, the whole system's not true because they say you're innocent until proven guilty. Isn't that one of our rights, that we're actually innocent until we're proven guilty?
Yes,
but they treat us right from the beginning like we're guilty, and they withhold evidence. They're allowed to. They're allowed to withhold testimonies.
It's not a level playing field.
Oh,
There's
no,
doubt
not
about
at
it.
all. And plus, they're trained professionals. They're trained manipulators. They really know how to get, the jury kind of brainwashed. I mean, was there any way that you were able to put the jury nullification out there where they would know? I mean, if Ed could do this, the jury needs to be informed probably a little bit more. Like maybe we should have people out there daily with signs and.
Is there a list of volunteers ready to do that somewhere?
On certain days I can do it. I mean, if it's only one or two people,
Mm-hmm.
But it's a shame
that's
more
better.
people need to be aware of the jury nullification, because the court in this case seems to be,
Well, the courts make every effort to stop the
block
jury
it.
from learning anything about
Of
jury
course.
nullification. I was just telling Jim that when there was some indication that this jury was being influenced by outside influences, he sequestered the jury essentially, and bought him lunch and wouldn't even let him go out the door where they normally go. So they make every effort to avoid that, and they instruct the jury.
Yeah.
They throw jurors out if they think that there's any indication that those jurors are going to decide the case on the law rather than the facts. Hold on, I'm getting a call.
They actually break the jurors down because they're not allowed to leave the room. They're not allowed to go home to their families, right, Jim?
Yeah.
They have to stay there. They're not getting paid, first of all. So most of them don't even want to be there. They're forced to be there. So there's a lot of different ways that they can, say, hey, you better get on the same page as everybody else
It's not a fair fight.
and
never
plead
has been.
guilty, or we're not letting you go home. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would break under those circumstances,
Well,
and
you
that's
know-
probably what they're looking for. They're like sharks. They're probably looking at the jurors
That's how I got out of jury duty.
Yeah.
No, the judge, everybody in the room, is anybody here that has something on? I said why they wouldn't be able to serve, and I said yeah, and I told them that it was supposed to be 3 days. I was told 3 or 4 days, and that 2 days after this, because I hadn't been picked in the first 3 days. I said, I got to go see my brother in Canada. It's all planned. It's the only time I can go. And what's going to happen is I'm going to go whichever way the wind's blowing. I know me. And if everybody's going to vote guilty, I'm going to vote guilty because I got to go to Canada. And I know me. That's how I operate. And the judge said, but you can't do that. I guess I'd like not to. I'm just giving you forewarning. I don't trust myself that I'm not going to be able to be fair because I got to get out of here. And then he said, well, how long since you seen your brother? And I said 3 years. It'd been a year, but I was estimating, and it sounded better. And he said, go ahead. So I did go. And it wasn't actually, I would have served on a jury. It's not that I don't want to serve on a jury. I would have hopes of being on a jury like John's or anybody where I thought the law was wrong. So, okay, that was when Ken's getting a phone call. When he gets a call, Jim Babb is going to give him a call if a verdict comes in.
No,
so as
really?
longer.
Are you telling me his case is going on right now?
Yeah,
He's
jury's
there.
deliberating as we speak.
Right now.
Right now.
John's case.
Yesterday, I think a little bit on Tuesday, or they were getting their instructions, but they did deliberate all day yesterday, some on Tuesday, and they haven't reached a decision, and the judges said, I'm going to keep you here as long as it takes.
Yeah, it's kind of like torture methods, to get them to sway more towards the court.
Yeah, it's what
so
they're...
the court can make money.
It's what they're against doing, though. In
It's a
effect,
shame.
he's strong-arming them, and he might as well just say, if you want to go home, get with the program and come to a verdict.
Yeah, if you want to go home, just go with your feelings.
Come on, if there's
vote.
only a couple of holdouts,
exactly.
You want to go see your kids this week.
Exactly.
You'll send them into prison.
You know what I would tell them? Think with your heart. Basically, just think with your heart and your common sense. This is wrong. That anybody would be put in a prison cell for that many years, for any years at all, for an organic plant that has no toxic side effects, has never caused a death, has medical properties that is, so great.
Yeah, I know it's
people are self-medicating because they can't get the proper care that they're getting from their doctors, and we all know doctors run us through like some kind of assembly line. We're just numbers. They don't even know who we are anymore. There's no personal basis. It's just like, you look at this is what you need. Here's your prescriptions. Goodbye. See you, in a month.
No.
Yeah.
But do we expect any different? No, we really don't.
Never.
So.
And we don't expect them to change their minds neither, because they think that they know it all. They think the patients know nothing, and it's the other way around. I mean, we've experienced it. We're their guinea pigs. We're the ones that have been the guinea pigs for them for...
I just boil it down to the most common denominator is it's the patient's life, not anybody else's. So their opinion should count more than anybody else's. And if this is what they want to do and it doesn't affect anybody else, that's the way it should be.
Exactly.
It couldn't be more simple, but that isn't how it is.
Well, don't we have rights that are supposed to protect that amendment where we have the right to just...
Not really.
No, we're not allowed to save our lives. I mean...
Not really, no.
No, we're not.
No.
We're not allowed to save our lives. We're not allowed to help other people save theirs. I mean, what's going on here? This world has become so crazy.
It's been crazy for a long time.
It has been crazy for a long time. I mean, when I was in EMT, we were pretty much on the front lines. We were the first ones called out. And, we'd go to the call and, save those people with whatever knowledge we had. Of course, we weren't using cannabis at that time. But, I mean, we could do that. And I just don't understand why, I'll tell you what, on all my years in the first aid squad, there has never, ever been any calls about marijuana. And there was several overdoses that I went to where the people actually had died, and it was all pharmaceuticals.
I heard
One was
I heard an
heroin.
emergency call about marijuana one time on YouTube when
A police
a
officer?
police dispatcher or officer ate brownies with his wife.
Yeah,
and
it was a police
That's
officer.
hilarious, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It shows why you don't start out edibles. He really,
I
he said
think we're
really like
dying.
4 times.
I
I
think
think
we're
we're dying.
Yeah. I really think I'm dead, but what's the score on the Red Sox? Remember that one? That was hysterical.
The guy that called in, he should have to listen to that
Oh, I'm
tape
sure he
recording
does.
every morning.
I'm sure he got laughed right out of the police department for that.
No,
That was
actually,
pretty funny.
actually, he's still an officer, I believe.
Yeah.
Or was it a dispatcher or an
No,
officer?
no, he was an officer. He was an officer.
Yeah, I believe everything worked out okay.
Probably got him treatment.
He's probably put on leave for a while, and he got better.
Yeah, I had to go do a diction class or something like that. Take a little course in how not to make brownies.
Well, that's something people should recognize: is you don't start out eating cannabis.
Oh no, that's something that's really more beneficial for patients.
Well, there's no way of telling.
Or for certain medical ailments, like if you need to sleep, insomnia.
It's not evident immediately how much you've taken.
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
taking a pill. Yeah, how do you know when you took a pill if it's enough? You have to
Exactly.
wait. You keep eating brownies, and all of a sudden you start feeling the first one. You've had 6 or 7. You're going to be, even I would be in trouble.
Oh yeah, a lot of people don't realize that when they do eat that edible, it's not going to be an immediate effect. It goes into your stomach,
well,
and
they
then
should.
it absorbs, and then so you, after you eat the brownie or the cookie or whatever it is, after 10-15 minutes they're not feeling nothing, and they go and eat another one, and that's the way that they're getting a little bit too high. It's like knocking them out. But other than that, it's not hurting them. It's not causing any kind of medical problems. It's just making them tired. Right there, Jim.
What's wrong being tired, right?
Yeah. I said, that's the only problem that people have had. They can't wait long enough, like after they've eaten some edibles, to wait for the effects. And they think that it's not working, then they end up taking more. And that's where the problem comes in. But they never get hurt by it.
Sure. T-shirt.
Sold a T-shirt.
Okay.
All right.
And we do. We try to make a little something
Oh, yeah.
while we're here.
Oh, yeah, we
And
definitely have expenses.
It makes it self-supporting even here. Plus,
I'm going to need me another T-shirt, too. I still think we should tie-dye them, at least for Christmas presents.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
We got yeses. Everybody wants these. Everybody. We want sweatshirts, too.
why don't you
We want sweatshirts.
My Daniel Bryan on, yo.
Yeah, we can,
and hats.
yeah.
Well, I mean, we have the
Definitely.
T-shirts. If we have people who can tie-dye them,
Okay.
we can distribute a few
Well,
T-shirts. for
why don't we
tie-dye.
have a tie-dye party at one
Well,
of the meetings? This would be fun.
Can you tie dye just
Yeah, I
one
don't-
thing
We
and
have
see
art
how?
class
Yeah,
there.
no, we're not going to have one at the library. I think that
Tie-dye
might be a little
party.
messy.
See, yeah.
Maybe at the
Hey,
joint.
yeah, we could do it at Ed's. Let's
Yeah,
mess up
yeah.
joint.
Well,
let's
and
mess up
maybe in
the-
his
We
yard.
need
there.
one to
Yeah, in his
find out.
yard. Good idea.
Can we tie dye just one thing, or is that not productive use of
Oh.
everything you have to do? In other words, can you tie dye one shirt?
And just to see how it goes over,
Yeah.
how people like it. Yeah.
I've never tie dyed.
Oh yeah, I can figure this
You
out.
take one of these. These
I know
are
my
these are
daughter
these
knows
are
how to
these
do
are
it.
example shirts here.
Yeah, yeah, that's an idea.
Oh,
I bet you they'd sell a lot quicker, because
Well, let's find out. Let's tie dye one, and we'll put one up. And if somebody says, "I'd like to buy that," and I go, "Well, it's just an example. It's our last one," but
Right.
that'd be enough right there.
well, we live by the market, so I could stop by there and see if there's any tie-dye stuff and ask them how to do it, or if they do it, and I'll figure things out. But definitely different colors would be nice. But it's going to be getting cold, and then people won't see our shirts. We need to get
Let's see
some
our
hoodies.
sweatshirts.
Yes, let's get some hoodies or something.
We do. We have. We had hoodies.
Buddies.
Hello, sir.
Hoodies.
Can I help you?
Hoodies
you
having
go.
foodie.
Okay, this man has some questions here about the magic butter machine.
Sure.
Okay?
But we can't talk off mic though.
Well, we can repeat his question. What's your
Yeah.
question, sir?
Yes, what question you have?
The magical butter itself, how do you administer it?
Orally. I mean, yeah,
Hi, yeah.
people take it.
You can take that butter and simply cut it into pill shapes and swallow it like a pill. My wife, there she is, late great Cheryl Miller. I'd make butter for the picture
On the
there.
poster there.
Yeah, she's gone. She died some years ago. But I would just, for her, we'd use it in cooking. Make Rice Krispie treats or something, and then eat them. Yeah, you could use it for cooking. Once you get the butter, you use that in cooking. Yeah, it's tough
These are the
offline.
things you can make. It says magic butter makes your recipe better, and you can make all these things. The magic butter uses, and at the dispensary, when I was there, I was really interested in the fact that they had paperwork at the new Belmar dispensary on how to make butter and tinctures.
Yeah, hear about that?
Oh, no,
Yes,
how about that? That's
I
great.
thought that was great. I
Yeah.
grabbed some of those because everybody needs to know how to
This
how
is
to
the
make them.
the Breakwater dispensary?
No, this is the Belmar dispensary, and they gave us 20% off. Bob now has his license also, and 20% off from $133.77, which we were paying per 7 grams at Garden State Dispensary. We now pay $96. That's including tax.
For how much? 7 grams?
For 7 grams. And we just went in there.
So that's under $400 an ounce. So that's
Yeah,
good
it's a
compared
lot
to what
better.
it was. Yeah,
It's
sure.
more comparable, to the
Yeah.
black market price, which is great. And I also found that they just started selling pre-rolled, and the pre-rolled is 3.5 grams, so it's like an eighth, for $29 with your discount, which is pretty cheap. That's a lot cheaper than.
Well, I hope they set a trend for the other dispensaries.
Yeah.
No, we were
It's
just
good.
there
I mean,
2 days ago.
some of
They
the-
had eighths.
Be more
So-
market
We
driven
were there
now.
the day before.
Cindy, now, originally the alternative treatment centers were saying that they didn't want you to turn your flowers that you buy from them into edible products, but now it's good to hear that at least one alternative treatment center is actually giving instructions on how to do this.
Well, I can imagine somebody, if I were a patient, giving me some product and saying, we don't want you to turn it into an edible product. And I'd say, I don't like you wearing shoes. I think you should wear sneakers.
Yeah, they actually told. They told me.
Guess we don't get what we want.
They said I could use my medicine that I get from them and turn it into anything I want.
Well, yeah.
Good.
Yes, and this is interesting too, Ken. I don't know if you knew that they actually got a CO2 extractor and a cold press, and they're going to be having lozengers and tinctures available for sale at the Belmar dispensary.
How many are you allowed to buy? There's a limit on the amount of product you can buy. How many lots, and how does that work?
I'm not sure. I asked him about Governor Christie's law of edibles only allowed up to the age of 18.
Yeah, but how many? I mean, I'd like 500 500 lozenges.
Right. But the thing
200,
is,
100?
when I
Let's make a
asked them,
deal.
I said, "Are these only for children?" Right? They said no, because underneath the guidelines, lozengers and tinctures don't fall under edibles.
From what I understand,
Yes.
was that they're still they've put in the application process, just like I believe Woodbridge did at one point, if I recall
But
right.
they have the machines.
They had the machines also at
Gotta
Woodbridge.
be.
If it stings me, it stings me. But they have the machines at Woodbridge as well, too, I believe. But they're all waiting on an okay from inside there
Yeah,
to begin any sort of extraction process. And then even after the extraction process begins, what I believe I was told was that they still have to talk about how, like Jim said, it's going to be regulated again and then distributed. How much is your 2-ounce allotment if you're going to get lozenges? Like, how many is that 5 lozenges going to take away
Well-
from your 2-ounce allotment a month? So there's a lot of technicalities that still have to be worked out, especially without proper testing.
Yeah, me and Bob were talking to him in full, and they said that at Garden State they have a BHO extractor that's using butane. There was a leak. It became a problem. And so that's why they have a CO2 extractor. It's much more healthier. Garden State had to basically change everything around, clean everything up.
CO2 is healthy, but at the same time, any kind of leak that you get,
It's
whether
dangerous.
it be CO2, butane, oxygen, it's a flammable
Oh,
gas.
yes, yes.
It's combustible. So
They created a problem, I
the-
heard. So-
it's the same.
They're talking about like 1 or 2 months. They expect
So
to
there,
have
there are
these.
safety considerations with
Yes.
any type of extraction.
Of
Yes.
course.
And,
They're doing it right
Yeah.
here at Belmar,
Yep.
though.
That's I
They're
give
definitely
Belmar
doing it right.
110% of my trust. Like I said, I
Oh,
was there
yes.
yesterday again. I've tested each and every strain that they've
Mm-hmm.
released, and I'm not disappointed. I mean, I'm happy to have somewhere to go, and it's a step in the right direction. It's not 100% right, but I truly believe still that they're going to work to do what is right for people in the state of New
The best
Jersey.
thing is they've already lowered the prices
Yep.
for us. The other great thing is because of consumer request, we're allowed to see our medicine before we buy it. And no other dispensary is doing that except for Belmar. It's great. Another absolutely, or should I say compassionate sciences, so people know where
Yeah.
and what it is. Another absolutely great thing that they're doing that the other dispensaries have not started doing yet is once you become a patient there, you don't need an appointment.
Yep.
You could just walk in whenever you're in the area, whenever you're going
beautiful.
that way. It's absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful.
They are the most compassionate that I've seen. They have
Without a
the
doubt.
best quality.
as
Best
long
I've
as
quality
seen.
product.
really, yeah.
Oh,
as
God,
long as
yes.
you don't go over the 2 ounce a month limit.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
It's going to be an unusual thing to see how they're going to
It's-
sort out these lozenges and tinctures
Yeah.
and how they're going to, count them. I mean, you could get a lot of tinctures for 1, ounce. Well, no, not really.
Well, you get for 2 ounce or every ounce of alcohol, you use a quarter of material.
Yeah.
So
Like what we're wondering also is, are they going to charge us for them making it? Because that's not real
it's ridiculous.
fair.
No.
Yeah, that's not real fair. When we can make it with the magic butter machine right here
Exactly.
ourselves. So if they're, I guess that's for the people who don't have magic butter. You should call in now.
Call.
Call the 1-800 number. Jim, the 1-800 number
I'm not
is.
taking calls right now.
Oh,
That's Lefty's
that's
job.
a Lefty's got the phone. Okay, well, anyway, when Lefty's around, you can call in to win this magic butter machine. And this will show you how to make those tinctures. And
Well, we can try to guess what they're up to and how it's going to work out, but, we have no say in the process, really. So at this point, it's really just a matter of sitting back and waiting for it to happen.
yeah.
And, me, I'm like, if I'm not going outside, I don't try to figure out whether it's going to rain or not, because I don't need to know. And when it does, it does, and it doesn't, it doesn't. There's just no way to figure this out.
It's very, very interesting.
We don't have any usable input into the situation, but when there is a dispensary being more patient oriented, like you're describing, hopefully patients will be talking with them and they'll react to what patients are telling them, and at least if one dispensary does that, it sets the tone for the others to
Yeah.
sink or swim. They
Yeah.
can follow a working model, or they can bog down in whatever it is they're bogging down in now.
I found this very interesting. I had mentioned, what happened with Governor Christie promising us, shaking your hand and telling you that he was on board, he was going to help us out. I gave you the John O'Brien's number and how John O'Brien, like, what was it, a couple weeks, he was like gone, and I said, oh yeah, his daughter's working here in the back.
He was there for a few months still.
And here, down here in the new dispensary?
Well, after he gave me his card, we had contact for a few months, and then not so much. And
I
then
thought John O'Brien is working up in New York.
Yeah.
He is.
Well,
he is,
he resigned after I got contact with him from our governor.
Yeah, his daughter is also, for the movement, and
Good.
yeah, which is great. I mean, I wish they helped us out before they left. I mean, I guess in a way, maybe his daughter's here
I called him.
helping us
I called
out.
him
But I mean, he left New Jersey, kind of stranded us, didn't he?
He hasn't returned
well-
my phone calls either.
Yeah. I mean, I
Maybe-
don't understand that. They didn't even give us a new person, right?
maybe he realized that
Yeah, we
it
don't
was
know.
at such a stalemate that he had nowhere to advance with. I mean,
New Jersey.
and now
Yeah.
right, and now he's doing
you
the best he
know,
can to try to help.
There's my impression was, and I don't get a lot of pats on the back from my own people on this. I don't mean you, Ken. I
Yeah,
mean just
yeah, let me-
generally.
let me
no,
reach
listen,
over
no,
here.
no, listen to me. My impression was that John O'Brien wanted the program to work.
Yes.
Yeah, I
And he
think
was
so.
and
Oh,
he
yes,
was
definitely. He's
hamstrung
obviously does.
by the regulations that were before him. He didn't
Right.
have input into regulations. He didn't get to tell. The health department and the administration would not really listen to his
No.
input, and he knew that going in. So I think what happened is when we started talking and we approached it from the point that people in hospice care, they need a more expedited process because they're dying without having the time to get into the program. So we were working on, well, before they're in hospice, they have certain diseases, cancer being a main one, where they know it's coming and they have to be able to apply quicker. Maybe special dispensation that once you are deemed under the care of hospice, you get fast-tracked
Yeah,
in. Maybe
right.
maybe they have their own. And he seemed very genuinely put off by the problem that we aren't able to help people who are dying. If we can't help people who are dying, what are we doing? I
Yeah.
mean, we can't even give them hope.
People are running away to other states.
So then he resigned. And
It's a shame.
I'm thinking that it may well have been a couple of things. He might have gone up and said, listen, we need to do these things. And they said, we're not going to do them. You should resign.
Yeah, he might have a
Or maybe he
stalemate
just said,
there.
I've had enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to go where I can do some good. And then he resigned, and now he's involved in a different
Right.
area.
But maybe
I-
where
I'll-
he
I'll
can
tell you,
still
I-
help
I-
New
every-
Jersey, hopefully, you know?
all the time I
Maybe
had to
there's a
talk
plan.
with John O'Brien. I liked him. There was just something about him that actually seemed more genuine
Yeah, you had a
than
good dialogue
legislators.
going. You had a good
Yeah,
dialogue
I
Yeah,
going
we
with
didn't
him.
have short conversations, and it was to the point. And you know, he has a sense of humor. He'd be like, "Tell
tell you
Lefty to
what.
hold the signs down
know,
lower,"
he really
because
gave
Lefty
us
would have
hope.
a John O'Brien
Yeah,
where
that
you
John
sign it in front
O'Brien.
of security
Why you couldn't
camera.
go to Woodbridge
You know, I
anymore?
really-
Yeah, he was. We had great
You know, I
conversations.
feel bad for you, Jim, because I mean, look at all this time, all these years you've been putting into this, and this guy finally gives you hope and a light at the end of the tunnel, and then disappears.
Yeah.
And the tunnel
Well,
goes
hey,
black
yeah,
because who
yes.
did they say? Well, here he's going to help you. He's going to take my place, and he's going to keep this going and do these things that we promised.
Not
Nobody,
for nothing.
nobody,
Nobody,
right?
nobody's helping
Nobody.
us in New Jersey,
We're kinda
other
like
than
those people across
than.
the street for the
I'm
Sandy
not gonna,
people.
I'm not going to say
who've lost
nobody.
everything.
I'm not going to say nobody because there are people on our side that are doing more that aren't necessarily the people out on the street. They maybe can't be out on the street for whatever reasons, but they're doing what they need to do behind the doors for us. And hopefully we get more answers faster
Yeah.
than we do. I mean, we have
we do.
resolutions coming up in different municipalities,
But what
and it
about
needs to expand.
Jenny? What about Jenny? How
Well,
many days?
It
Jim?
sucks. It's too many days.
I mean, it's
One day was too
insane.
many
this
days.
is a child that's getting seizures in school. If they're going to be letting a child suffer for hundreds of days,
122 days.
122 days, this child's suffering. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, what do you want next? I mean, if he's not going to help any of these children, these beautiful girls that are, begging.
Well, their parents are begging, that's for sure.
All their loved ones, all these people that know them are begging. I mean, they can hand out Oxycontins in school. They can stick Valiums up their butt. You know, it's just, it doesn't make any sense to me. You know,
Well, don't look for it to make sense.
But, you know,
start with that. Don't
yeah,
look for it to
you
make
can't
sense.
find
It
sense
will.
in this. I mean,
Well,
these
it
people
won't. It's never
obviously
going to
are
make
not
sense. So
these people
that's
aren't
the
educated
playing
to.
field, but that playing field
What if
hasn't
it was
changed
their
over the years.
child? You know, if it was their child having seizures in day.
Part of what we need to do is recognize the problem. Part of what we need to do is have solutions to the problem. Otherwise, just recognizing the problem and opening your eyes.
We need help, people. People, we need help.
Well, we need to do.
We need more people out here.
Better, not just more people. When they say, "What can I do?" We need to,
through.
and we are, and
Speak the
I give the
truth.
coalition
Learn.
a lot of credit. This is we talk about this all the time, and we do look for entry level ways for people to help. And if not for the Coalition for Medical Marijuana, I honestly don't know where people would be getting their
Yeah.
information right now.
Oh, that's a
we
fact.
offer that to them, but even for us, of course, it's hard because what are you going to suggest? Talk to your legislators. It's people don't. It's hard enough for them to just get out and vote. But we did send out. Did you get any reply to any of the questionnaires we sent out to
No,
the
not yet.
legislators?
No.
Sent out questionnaires. Ken did to all the legislators up for election, and did you send it to some of the non-incumbent, the unincumbents?
No, I haven't found the addresses yet for the challengers, but I hope to get
Challengers.
that out. Certainly get it.
I could have had a new word there, unincumbent.
The unincumbent.
I'm running for office. I am the unincumbent.
A new political term.
Even a little more distressing
Could
is
use
that,
it in a
that,
song.
I submitted a resolution to the city of Trenton to endorse legal marijuana in the state of New Jersey, the way Asbury
Nice.
Park officials did. But I haven't gotten any response
How
yet.
long
from,
ago was that?
Well, September 28th, just about a month ago.
So
No.
it's been over a 1-month cycle where
Yeah.
Is there going to be a meeting in Trenton that we should go to?
time for a follow-up.
Well, typically those resolutions are discussed and decided on at a city council meeting. Yes, but when how it gets on the agenda and when it gets on the agenda, is
What takes precedence?
We
Yeah,
did go
yeah.
to the town hall. I went with the Weed Man and Lefty when we went to the town hall,
Mm-hmm.
and we asked them down there. That was one of their public meetings.
Mm-hmm.
We asked them if they would just.
But you were
think
asking them
their other
about
crimes and-
the lowest
Decriminalization.
priority
Yeah.
law enforcement.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a slightly different issue. It's a non-binding kind of resolution to ask the police in Trenton, in the city of Trenton,
Mm-hmm.
to use marijuana offenses as their lowest law enforcement priority. So they would pursue a jaywalker before they would pursue a
Right.
marijuana possession
Now,
offense. But
Is it
again,
actually decrimmed or legalized in Asbury? Have they passed that?
No,
They're
it's a resolution that they passed.
resolution
It's
they
a resolution.
passed.
It's mostly a symbolic resolution.
Oh, nice.
That supports legalization of marijuana in New Jersey for a number of reasons, and it talks about the different reasons why they support legalization of marijuana. And they urge the governor and the state legislature to the city of Asbury Park, the council and the mayor unanimously urged the governor and the state legislature to pass legislation that would legalize marijuana in New Jersey. So nothing changes in Asbury Park. It's just that they have set forth a resolution that shows the will of the city fathers and mothers of Asbury Park.
And
In terms
does
of
the resolution
legalization.
ask, as resolutions do, that the legislature do something? I mean, you generally, as a resolution, and
Right,
that we,
right.
as quickly as possible, would like the legislature to deal with this. That's usually the purpose of a resolution. Here's how we feel, and we'd like you to do something about it.
Yeah.
The first thing that happened in California wasn't a medical marijuana bill that failed in '95 and then passed in '96. In 1993, the California, the legislature passed a resolution. The same thing here, and they passed that resolution in '93, and then they got to work on it a couple years later. So while it doesn't have any teeth itself, it is a good motivator to
right.
getting it. It validates why they should go further and get the legislation underway.
Yeah.
Basically, bottom level job, foot in the door, start
Right,
at the bottom
exactly.
and try to work up.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
But it can be very important. It can be a very important document. The resolution that the State Nurses Association passed in support of medical marijuana in 2003 was, they stood by that resolution and they testified for the next 5 years when the legislation was before the New Jersey legislature about the importance of medical marijuana and that it should be passed here in New Jersey. And people tended to listen to the nurses when they adapted that resolution.
I brought that up at every juncture I could.
Yeah.
And
But that resolution in Asbury Park, what it says is, therefore be it resolved that the mayor and council of the city hereby support fair and effective criminal justice and drug policies, and that the mayor and council of the city hereby urge the New Jersey State Legislature to pass and the governor to sign legislation to legalize, tax, and regulate marijuana for adults. And so they
They really need that in Atlantic City too.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, that would help their economy because then people would feel safe
Well,
there. They'd be going there.
take this to your house, to wherever,
Oh,
whatever municipality
hey,
you live
yeah,
in.
definitely. Give me
Jim,
some
take it to
copies
yours.
of that. I'll take that all over the place.
It's available online. It's very easy
And my,
to.
my township and Stevens Township, who's right across the street, seems to be very, very easygoing and lenient and acceptant of it.
Well, it's for them. It's
So, I mean,
just
I'll
a
even
resolution.
drop it off at my township
it's
meeting.
just a
It's
resolution.
just words. It's just words to them.
I'll take many of those copies. I think that should be proposed all over the place, especially Atlantic City, I'm saying, because they need to bring people back. There's this economy going on, bad economy, and people are scared to go to Atlantic City.
Well,
I
this
can't
isn't-
blame them.
It's not.
It
gonna
doesn't
be
do
like-
anything.
It's not going to be legalized in Asbury
No.
Park and Atlantic City.
Right, no.
It's
Especially-
a resolution. If anything, it'll be legalized statewide, which
I
will help.
wish,
Which
I
will help their
wish.
economy.
It will help.
Instead of splitting the
Without-
state up, it's
Without
like,
us having ballot initiatives and whatnot, like other states do in different ballot reforms, I mean, like Jim said, all this is words on paper. It holds no
Yeah.
strength, no
Well,
bearing.
yeah, but-
it doesn't give you an
But
okay
if
to
you
say,
hand it off to the
I'm
right
gonna
people-
open up a grow.
It
Right.
gives us a foot in the door that
Yeah.
we can simply take
It
these
opens their eyes,
resolutions
at
to our
least.
legislators
Yes.
and
And
say
then
there
go
are
from
whole
there.
towns, not and when it's not
Yeah.
just Asbury Park. When we start getting a few more,
You know, what if we
you
get
see the tide
signatures?
turning.
What if we hand in hundreds of signatures, thousands of signatures? Look at that card.
For
It's
what?
Jesse,
Now,
isn't
hey,
it?
no,
Jesse.
don't turn around and look at that card. It's a freaking podcast about.
But
cannabis
Jesse's one of
here.
us. Jesse's one of
I,
us.
I know.
So check
Rico
out that
said,
card.
I know Jinx. Jinx, Mr. Jim.
Yeah. Because she is an activist, we can check out the awesomeness
Well,
of that
yes,
Volkswagen.
I know we
book
can, but
that had
say
a patch quilt design.
to any viewing or listening audience, if they're a listening audience, they can't see it and they're hearing. Look at that car.
Oh, I just gave him a
It
visual.
was
though.
huge. It was a Humvee. No, it wasn't. it
No,
was a
I gave him a
Volkswagen
visual. The
Beetle. See, it
the
doesn't
old
matter.
'70s Beetle.
I tell people we
DeVito.
have hundreds of
DeVito,
people
that's
out
the
here now.
Volkswagen
We were
Beetle.
thinking of getting a crowd noise thing to hit.
Well,
you know.
we're going to be getting some music up here and cutting to a commercial soon.
Well, it's already 1:32,
Yeah, so
and we
getting
end
ready
at
to play a
2.
song. Are you there, Jim? You gonna sing along? You gonna?
No, I'm just here to listen to him. What we do periodically is Daniel Brady brings his guitar here. He does some finger picking that settles us down because
It's meditative.
how do we all feel right now? I feel kind of like just
frustrated.
fed
with
up
some nice
and
music,
everything, you know,
some
and all
soothing,
we gotta fight with
entertainment.
people about. And then Daniel sits down. He just plays some stuff that it's soothing sort
Yes.
of music, and then we can even have a slower discussion. See how the
Exactly.
words can come out slow. There can be huge pauses in between thoughts because it's not
Right.
silence. It's music.
So where's your guitar?
So he's just like hanging out and he's
yeah.
not playing.
Are you
Daniel,
gonna? Come on, Mom.
somebody smack him.
Smack you.
Where are you going?
What's going on? About 45 minutes to an hour ago, I thought you were getting prepared and psyched
Yeah.
to play the guitar.
Need you strumming?
Come on.
Let me say, these people might shut up. I gotta just say hello to my. I'll say hello to my.
You're off mic. I can't talk to you
You're-
off mic.
you're-
I won't.
Go say hi. Go say hi to your people and come back here.
Yeah, go say hi to your people. Then they got to go to commercial break and they need your plucking and
Yes, we
stringing.
need your
Yeah.
plucking and stringing so we can
We
medicate.
need to bring it back.
so we can medicate.
We need some-
Medicate and meditate.
Yeah,
need a little
medicate
plucking
and
guitar
meditate.
playing. You know, it's not too plucking much to ask. Is
No,
it?
it's never too plucking much. You know, I mean,
Not too plucking much.
never too plucking much.
Pluck you.
Hey, we have another guest speaker coming up. Hey, take a seat. Join us. Hey, Jay.
AJ.
We don't have silence. That's for one.
No.
Yeah, we do sometimes.
Let's see. Will he play? Will he play? Or will he just. Yep, he's going for the guitar.
Looking for it.
Slowly. Very slowly. Slowly but surely. But here you go.
It looks like
we have
Stan's
another
made
guest
it
speaker
back.
coming up. Well, I tried.
Oh, Jay was at the Cypress Hill concert in Philadelphia last night. Jay, tell them about a little bit of that
Cypress Hill
freedom.
concert was awesome. We were all smoking. It felt like freedom. And it was just an awesome night, man. Awesome. Some friends invited me, and I went, and I'm so glad I went.
Where was
Had an
it?
awesome time. It was at the TLA on South Street. And,
Theater of the Living Arts.
yes. And it was just an awesome time. Great people. I'm so glad I went. That's all I have to say.
Did Poe give you tickets?
No, Poe didn't give me tickets. I bought my tickets for $27.
That's
Reasonable.
cheap.
Yeah,
reasonable.
I wish I would have known that.
Oh, if I knew that, I was waiting for Poe to give me tickets because I gave him a kitten.
'Cause you
I
gave him a
didn't
cat?
get a
I
ticket.
saw Mike
and-
Whiter there, and Poe. He said Poe was backstage
Yeah.
with Cypress Hill smoking. So
Oh man, he forgot about me. I'm gonna tell him that he owes me. He owes me now.
Well, for people who don't know Cypress Hill, they are a very cannabis-oriented
Oh,
group.
wow. I
That's
wish
why
I
we're
went.
thrilled to talk about this right now. They are,
yes.
Very proactive in the
there's
cannabis movement.
Next time
there's
something
really
cool
not a
like
group
that's
more
on,
so.
just send me a quick email. Let me-
Not that
Poe
voices
didn't
a
tell me it was
proactive opinion,
cool.
not just talks about it, sings about it.
Over a long period of time
Right.
now. I mean,
Right.
it's got to be
They-
15
Last
years.
time I
in.
went
Yeah,
to a
it,
Cypress Hill
it was a
concert,
20 or 25-year
Wow.
anniversary of one of their albums for their concert.
man.
That's what the tour is right
Wow,
so,
that long.
So it was all
to
South
have
Street,
been there,
yeah?
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
they
And
played all, like, the
for
old
Poe
stuff.
to have
They
been
played,
able
like, hits
to
from the bong, and stoned is the way to walk, and I could just kill a man. All the good stuff, all the old good stuff.
Oh man, that sounds so
Well, it
cool.
sounds like a reasonable price ticket too.
Oh,
Everybody was
yeah.
smoking, and it was
Oh, wow.
I just felt like freedom.
Oh, I bet. All on
She
South
needs a spot
Street.
to park.
Was
She
it?
can't
It
find a spot to
sounds so
park.
nice. Oh.
she wants a close spot.
Oh, yes, she does.
She wants to park
I
right
love,
out
I
front.
love her. You see her VW?
You should put the camera on her
Jesse's.
VW, man.
I don't know how to turn it.
Yeah, it wouldn't pick it
Yeah.
up from here.
yeah.
We don't have a Zoom mode.
Yeah.
Daniel, if you want to sit on a crate here, I'll put something on
Can't
top
miss
of.
that,
We don't
that's for
have
sure.
chairs today. We don't have the speaker stands, and we don't have chairs.
You
Sitting
know
on a
what,
milk
though? We
crate.
can take Haney's chair.
Sit on a
Haney
milk
seemed
crate.
to have disappeared off to maybe the
Still
Sandy.
family.
Maybe he's making friends over there at Sandy's little protest that they're having across the street, trying to get people to understand that Governor Christie has not helped the people with Sandy.
Don't yell. We got.
Well, I know, but
no,
still.
just- no need to yell. You get closer and you can talk like that.
Why voice?
Okay.
So what Lefty do? Abandon us?
I think Lefty abandoned us.
Lefty, lefty, lefty.
Where did Lefty go?
Lefty went right.
30, what?
I'm sorry.
Wait, here.
Oh, this is the 31st week we've been here this year. Yeah, this is the 30th podcast. We didn't have a podcast the first week. We realized the first week we needed more than just to gather.
Contiguous weeks.
Every
Yes.
Thursday.
Of a podcast.
Every
Since
Thursday,
April,
yes.
since April 2nd was our first gathering. The first podcast was April 9th, Thursday, and every Thursday since. And we have 3 more Thursdays left after this in the 2015 podcast protest season. So it will be the 5th, the 12th, and the 19th Thursdays next month, and then it's Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And hopefully we're going to have a Thanksgiving celebration of our own on the 19th, the last Thursday we're here. We did this last year. We had pizzas and
Yeah,
sandwiches, and we gave them.
great
And if you're hungry
dishes,
and you
yeah.
wanted some, you stop by.
Yeah.
And like I would say, the reason I posted this on Facebook, but
Oh, yeah, okay.
what I got out of last year was a guy walked by and he saw what was going on. And he asked me, he said, "Could I just take a piece with me?"
Yeah.
I said, "What? You're not hungry?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm hungry, but I'm gonna be way hungrier later on tonight." And I said, "No, you can't just take a piece with you. You can eat some here and then take a couple with you and get you some cookies and soda." And he just said thank you, and to me that's Thanksgiving. You
It
know?
is.
Oh, yes.
It is, and that's awesome that, I
Yeah.
mean, we have
we
enough
should
people dedicated to show up and do things like that for people, that to show that we're not
Maybe we should have an
selfish
event
people, that we're
page,
very
yeah.
selfless,
Yeah.
and we are for,
Yeah.
we're not all
none of us
greedy
are I
for
think
ourselves.
the community I've seen, the patients, the medical marijuana community, have been the most compassionate people. We've made a family. We all care about each other and we look out for each other and we're all fighting for the same thing. It's like being soldiers in a war almost on the front lines. We're all fighting to get
We're gonna
what
do-
we need.
we
I
are-
mean, and lives are being lost while we're waiting for this, to be accomplished. So it becomes like a family. There's no doubt about it. And then, even though we've been having to podcast for 30 weeks, right, Jim?
30
How many
weeks.
years has it been that we've been coming to the State House?
Well,
Because we've been doing that week after week with Jeannie
we did
and
it-
Jack and
Well, 20 weeks last year, from beginning of July through the last Thursday before Thanksgiving. 31 so far. 3 more will have been here 54 times in 16 months. In a few weeks.
yeah.
So
it is 54. 54.
And as I
weeks,
pointed
so
out before, and I'll point out
total.
again, that's never happened.
Right.
No, the
So-
past 2 years have been.
So I'd like not to think that we're special for doing it. I'd like to
No,
think
but
that
we're
we that
persistent.
we have an issue that is that important and that affects us to that point. Like I'm saying, people come, set up, good for anybody that comes and sets up here to state their point of view. But they don't come back the next week, and they don't come back the week after, and the week after, and the month after, and the season after, and
Right.
the year after.
But we do.
Well, we do because it's that important,
Yes.
and all I got to do is understand the comfort this gives some of the parents of children to know that we are tenacious, we are there, and we're not afraid to show up all year long. It's also supposed to eventually add up to the numbers that send a message to our opponents that we're not going to give up,
Never
and
gonna give up.
we're gonna outlast you, and
This is the good against the bad, because this is something that can save lives. And
well, we are going to.
Save
Last year
families.
we stopped from Thursday before Thanksgiving until April 2nd. We didn't have any podcasts. This year, I believe we're going to
Continue?
maybe do one a month.
That would be nice.
yeah.
Hopefully,
We're
I'll stop coughing. By
we going to
next
do it
month.
here in front of the State House still?
Yeah, once a month probably, but not just to pick a day.
Maybe we should have Christmas here or something, like
No,
one of the
no,
Christmas
Hey,
days.
While you're
No,
talking
no.
about that, we have Jesse Sanders
fine.
here now, and we'd
Yeah.
certainly like to get Jesse to come
Yes,
here and
we'd
talk
like her
to
to-
us on the
Yeah.
on our podcast.
Well, I'm going to give up my milk
She
crate.
has her sentencing
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jesse's
Wow.
Jesse's
Yeah,
facing
she's
some
going through
sentencing
some hard
tomorrow.
stuff.
So we'd like to get her here and talk about
And
what's
the
going
reason,
on with
the
her.
Yeah,
reason
but-
we're going to do one a month, I want to say, is it's not just to do it. We're going to try to pick a day when we know somebody's in session for a particular
Mm-hmm.
issue, whether it be a committee hearing or a floor vote. Once they get back to doing business, we're going to be here on specific days that they have business. So we'll see legislators coming in and out. Jesse Sanders, calling Jesse Sanders, please. Your presence is requested
Hi, Jesse.
on the milk crate.
How are you, darling?
Doing good. How are you?
They tried to stop me, but I got
So here we have Jesse Sanders, a medical marijuana patient who has
Okay.
various undergone some surgical procedures and is a chronic pain patient as a
Hi,
result of
Jess.
suffering trauma and also post-traumatic stress disorder. And now you're a victim of the criminal justice system, Jesse. So
Yes.
Tell us what's going on with you.
Oh, I missed you. I love you. Well, today is my last day of freedom. A woman who doesn't even have a speeding ticket. A woman who's worked all her life. A woman who was a victim of felony assault and battery, whose person who changed the way she lives for the rest of her life, did no jail time, will be going to court on house arrest tomorrow. After 4 judges, 5 prosecutors, 3 attorneys, and so far the ticker's up to about $76,000 just to say I'm free. And guess what? You're not free in this country, honey, unless you got the money to pay and say you're free.
Are you going to be free?
No, I'm going to be low-jacked at my house with my handicapped dog, with my caregiver. Oh, am I loud? I'm sorry.
A little loud.
I'm
Freedom is the biggest lie.
But anyway, it's a sad story because I am a patient. I will be smoking while I have this bracelet on me, which will be affecting the way I walk because I'm a small person.
So you're
Not-
house arrest.
Yep, they gave me 90 days, but somehow without even being sentenced, I already have 15 days good time, so they say 75.
Can you get more good time before you go?
I mean, I don't even know how I got the good time in the
maybe
first
you
place.
should find out how you get extra credit bonuses.
Oh my gosh, and it's
And maybe you should get extra credit maybe before you go.
it's $300 a month I have to
Jesse,
pay.
I thought the sentencing was tomorrow. You know what the sentencing is?
Yep, because I took a plea. I finally did
pleaded.
after 5 years almost of them holding me up in court, showing up every
Holding
month.
you hostage, basically.
You just got sick of and just wanted
The
to
abuse.
just get over
The
it.
abuse.
Well, between the lack of them putting someone who's on a fixed income because she was a victim of felony assault and battery, just squeezing me like a paper towel,
Post-traumatic stress.
every dollar I have out of me, I somehow And I can only give my props to God. Thank you, Jesus. Came up with the money, came up with a will, and was able to pay for an attorney to do nothing. Pay for an attorney for him to get killed. Pay for an attorney to finally, 5 years later, get to a plea agreement, which came to be 90 days house arrest, and then I'll find out tomorrow however long my probation is, and the judge sets it. He's a new judge, by the way, so he's trying to make a name for himself. So
boy.
fingers crossed.
So hopefully he's understandable and educated.
No.
Yeah, hopefully.
The guy that did my interview for house arrest looked at me in such disgust when he found out I was a medical marijuana patient that I looked at him and I said, "What, you don't like that?" And he said, "No, not at all." And I then took the next 15 minutes of my life to tell him why I didn't want to be on those synthetic heroin pills that those pharmaceutical companies keep pumping down everybody's throat. Why can't I be on a plant that has actually improved my quality of life
Natural.
without any
Same
kind
thing
of
I went
additive?
through.
But, you know.
I got off those pharmaceuticals. You off the pharmaceuticals?
Yes, ma'am. Did it all by myself.
Thank God. And let's God bless William Buckman, because that was 1 year, about a month ago.
It was. It really
Yes,
was.
And,
God bless him.
We all lost a very strong leader. He was a leader.
And, you know, it's a shame for
Role model
for his death just to go in vain and no one ever asked any questions. It's amazing
Oh,
how that can
unbelievable
happen.
how they could just get away with that. No questions asked. That was like unbelievable.
This is what I said to the
This is
lieutenant.
what it's like in America.
The lieutenant of house arrest that did the interview to see if I was an adequate, qualified person, he asked me, he said, "Well, why should you be on this program?" And I looked at him after I had been speaking for 45 minutes, and I said, "I'll be the best person on the program you ever had." He laughed in a very cynical way, and he said, "Well, that's what you say." And I said, "Well, because I was raised with a very strong moral code inside of me to not do the wrong thing. And that's why before I broke this law, that I believe is nothing more than an outdated curse for the American society, for our health. And if you don't have your health in this country, what do you have? Absolutely nothing. And then when it affects you, when you get that cancer call, when you get that lupus, when your back all of a sudden degenerates, then maybe your ears will open and you will see there's no money in a cure." I'm sorry if this offends anybody. My grandmother had breast cancer and survived it. But until they quit selling that pink stuff, they'll never make a cure for cancer. They'll only make you happy enough to be just minimalistic. They'll never cure it.
Just for the comeback, because there is no money in fixing it.
Well, the doctors don't even have cure in their vocabulary. It's maintain.
Because there's no money in cure.
There's no money in a cure
And
because
control,
there's no return.
just control and maintain. And that usually, you end up with something else wrong with you, and it's because of that drug. And instead of them looking at the side effects, what do? They just say, "Oh, now you got this other problem. Let's give you another medication to treat this problem."
Not this one. I'm not
It's
a
just
sheeple.
one after another. I mean, after you know it, you've got like 8 different medications the doctor's writing out a month, and you get addicted to those drugs. You get
What about our
sick from those
veterans?
drugs.
Our veterans that are already mentally
One medicine
in shock.
can take the place of all those drugs.
They're taking them, and they're taking our veterans, the ones that fought for us to stand here, the ones that let us have this pop up, the ones that let us drive our cars, my 71 Beetle or a brand new Beamer, whatever you want. If you work for it in this country, you're supposed to be able to have it. Well, that's not the truth. That's not the dream anymore.
We don't know
because I'm the
nothing
prime
there.
example of someone who has been screwed by the system. I have a clean record. I've never been in trouble. My father's a fallen officer, and my family members are veterans. For someone who had to get on their knees and say, "You know, God, what do I do? Do I break this law, or do I keep these doctors pumping these heroin pills in my body?" Which I have a federal document from the Federal Social Security Administration that says Jesse Nicole Sanders should smoke medical marijuana because long-term opiate use, it causes liver and organ failure. And if you think that those pills popping in your mouth are a little bit cooler because you can go in the corner, or you can take them out of your purse, or you can quietly do it behind closed doors, then you do that and you be sheeple. But I'm telling you something, at 28 years old, I decided to take control of my life. And then the state of New Jersey decided for the last 5 years to have control of my life. So the thing I had to do was plead out. I'm not a snitch. That's stupid, because all the people I know are sick and they're patients. So there's nothing to snitch about.
Yeah, and that's all they want to do is turn you on your friends, turn you on your family,
And have you completely dependent on them for everything.
Yeah, of course.
Let me
They
tell
try
you,
to play the game.
right now I have sitting on my TV stand is like a good portion of the top of it is dedicated to pills that they've given me for antidepressants And
Which has a side effect of suicide.
Wait, you want to slice your wrist? Hold on, let me give you something that's going to make you hang yourself. Hold on, you want to hang yourself? Let me give you something that's going to kill your liver. Hold on, let me kill your liver.
Let me
Hold
give
on.
you something that's gonna make
the
yourself
fact
shoot
of
yourself
killing
in the
my
head.
liver. Let's not forget that these
let's give guns
antidepressants
to
come.
mental people.
Yeah,
Can we take a moment of silence and let's just think about how many times a toilet flushes in every household? How many times do you think these medications that either after someone dies or just gets thrown away the wrong way gets flushed into our ecosystem? What do you think that's doing to our water, our environment, and why is autistic kids in Dempsey running wild? We have no idea.
Well, it's the lead in the pork that
It just
China's
happened one
putting
day.
there for one, and it's also the mercury in the shots.
So
and
Jesse,
it's all
how
these
do you
other
feel about
things.
tomorrow?
Look at me. I'm physically a mess. I'm
I see
soaking
that.
wet like 116
I see that.
pounds.
You seem like you're not doing too
They're
well.
tearing you up.
Yeah.
You know, you accepted this plea bargain, so I mean, you already know what your fate is.
And this is what happens.
Except for what the
honestly, to good
judge
people.
decides. He could decide I could be on probation, and he could decide the terms that I can't drive, and he could put a lot of things against me.
Now,
like what? What else?
You have
Whatever
to
he
drive.
chooses,
Whatever he
if-
wants.
yeah, whatever.
He can't tell you you can't use your
You're
medicine
a legal
though.
patient, right?
No, and that's the thing. When I did the interview for the house arrest, and they have to ask you what medications you're on. First one, of course, I'm a medical marijuana patient, and then you have to bring in the documentation to show what medications you're on. So I did. So I'm going to be smoking with this ankle bracelet, and I'm going to then get off this ankle bracelet, and I'm going to be put on probation.
And you're still allowed to
and
smoke.
And I'm going to be smoking. And at the end of the day, what does the core of this come down to? Money. Money and politics.
Yes.
Not your health.
Tens of thousands
Makes
of
no
dollars. I mean, over $70,000 this young girl had to
Makes
put
no
out
sense.
to defend
By myself.
herself.
My mother didn't pay for it. My father didn't pay for it. I'm a single woman with 2 dogs, one of which is handicapped herself. And she is on medical marijuana as well. And the vet told me, hey, you got to sign a... You got to
for
sign
pets. They have a show.
They say, Rimadol, you have to sign a release or it'll kill your dog in 3 months. I said, hey, I'll take my chances. I want to keep my dog. I'm not going to sign a release.
You know what? It won't kill your dog if you use it in the right tincture, in the right method with the coconut
No,
oil.
the Rimadol, the medication they wanted to
yes,
give her.
the pharmaceuticals.
I had to sign a
definitely.
release because it could possibly kill my dog. No.
Oh, yeah.
No
Well,
way.
This medicine is helping so many people in so many ways. And we've seen so much proof here right in front of the State House where children with epilepsy, people that can't walk, that haven't walked, get right up out of their wheelchair, stop their seizures, 300 seizures a day. And these kids are having now one seizure maybe every 2 weeks.
But see, you know what?
But yet
My family doesn't
nobody
even-
wants to. You fight for this. This is something that everybody in
You
the world
are me
should be
and I
fighting
am you.
for.
But unfortunately, it connects me right into my blood because my mother, my whole only thing I have in my life, won't even speak to me solely because of marijuana.
Mine too.
She gave me the excuse for a while, Jesse.
Oh, yeah,
until
I've
it's
got
legal, it's
problems
one
too.
thing. Well, Mom, it's legal in my state, and you still don't agree with it. I can't see my nieces.
But what's it being legal have to do
I
with
got the
it being
same
okay?
problem here, Jess.
Wait, hold on, Don. What are you saying, Don?
I said, what does it being legal have to do with it being okay? If it helps you, it helps you.
That's called sheeple, and that's called people that can't think for
I
themselves.
think it's a damn shame that I've got this label on me just because I want to use a natural plant as my medicine. They don't carry them off all these pharmaceuticals. It's like, oh, I'm shoving it in their face. I'm not shoving it in nobody's face. My dad died from cancer when he started the first aid squad in 54 and ran for 65 years
Well, how about
saving
this?
lives. Couldn't save himself with a plant. That's a sin. That's a
You don't have your health in this country? What do you
unjustice
have?
Sin.
We're humans. We're not biology patients.
And these
We're not
people
test
are
projects.
dying in the worst form.
We're
the
lab
worst
rats.
pain.
No,
yeah.
we're lab
Well,
rats.
we are lab
Yeah.
rats.
So how about
Chemo,
this?
Radiation. That's all they want.
I'm going to
people
take a
take.
moment and I'm going to go step across the street and I'm going to medicate myself
Jesse.
because I am
They
a little
need
upset.
you.
Before we
here
end the
for a
show, we have to
minute,
end the
Jess.
show
Oh,
right
yeah,
now.
okay.
It's almost-
So let me talk to you 1 second.
Let's
Before
go.
we end the show, you have a big court case tomorrow. We're going to support you in your court
Thanks.
case.
I really appreciate
We're going
it.
to get
Full
down there.
support.
You also have a probation officer that's going to be coming to your house, checking you for something. I don't know what.
I have never been on probation. No one's given me any information except for this nice gentleman yesterday that was eating a bag of chips outside the jail that said, you just give me the money every week and you come bring me your schedule and that's it.
All right, let me ask you a question. We're going to come to your house when your probation officer comes. Is that okay?
Everyone is welcome. I want my house to be the spot. If they're going to lock me down, I said I'm going to make the most money I've ever made in my life, and I'm going to be the happiest I've ever been in my life. And within the four walls of my own home, with my 8-year-old, my 4 dogs, my cat, and my soon-to-be husband.
What is your probation officer going to say when he has to walk through a cloud of smoke to get to you? Hot smoke.
I want to know. I want to know because nobody. I promise you, he probably won't come. They didn't do a home interview for the house arrest. It's like, what are you going to interview for?
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking for?
Right.
I'm not. I don't have guns. I'm not making pipe bombs like they initially charged me.
You know,
It's absurd. I have no information other than I've got to be at court in the morning with my bells on. Can I drive from court? I have no idea. Do I have family here? No. It's just little old me. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to drive away from there. Thank God I have someone in my life.
Is it open court? It's open court, public court. So
we'll be there.
Yeah. I am supposed to go camping tomorrow. But
oh, no, you enjoy that for me.
What time is it?
No, you enjoy that for me because I want to go.
Look, if you're,
I wanted to go.
Left, if you're going, if you can pick me up,
but if you get out, if there's a way, if you don't have to serve right away, you come down.
I can just say that if something's going to happen, it'll happen to me.
You know, hey, if you walk out of there, you come right to the campsite. We'll have a blast.
Girl, you know I'm there.
I'm telling you. Just think it. Just
Dead
keep
in company. Dead in company next
affirmation,
week. Dead in company next week. Just saw Stevie Wonder. Just saw Stevie Wonder.
Affirmations.
You know, this is not a completely privy to marijuana, but
Yes.
it's just it's just one story to show where priorities are. I was living in Camden County, and I was messed up. No place to go. No place, like nothing. So I went to the welfare, and I tried to get on the welfare, and I tried to get housing for them to put me up in a hotel, maybe get me an apartment. The social worker, and this is the exact words she told me. She said, "Sorry, we can't help you, but what you can do is either go knock up a girl or get a crack habit, and we can help you." This is Camden County welfare.
That is because of something called the Straw Man Act, because for every baby that you have in this country, they give a social security number and a birth certificate, and that allows the government to borrow more money. I don't know if anybody knew that. The Straw Man Act of 1913. Educate yourself.
Listen to that.
Nice.
The more you lay on your back and the more babies you have, the more money you get. If you don't have any babies like me, then guess what? You are SOL.
So don't respect the people that try to do it themselves, you know, basically. You know, don't try to help the people that don't really need help, because it's not like I was asking them.
There's no help in helping people
forever.
that need help, because they're the educated ones. They're not the sheeple. They're not the ones that are going to let the bills pass that they don't want to be passed. They're not the sheeple.
No,
We're the
because
lions.
the state workers don't care.
You know what? There's a thing called the Black Act going on right now with GMOs. Do you know that?
I fully say
we
that.
do not have the right to know what is going into our bodies anymore. This is something that causes cancer.
Scary stuff.
It's
In
scary,
1992, they started doing that because
people
my
wanna come-
grandfather wouldn't let
come
us
over
start
here.
planting our gardens the same way. I don't know if people know that, but since 92, if you planted a garden, you couldn't get your seeds to collect to have for the next year because Monsanto was already in effect. They already took your seeds, manipulated them, and wouldn't let them reproduce. That was 92 when I was 10 years old
They're
with my
poison
grandfather.
seeds, poison corn, you know.
This plant, they have not been able to genetically modify.
They-
You know why? Because
No,
God's
they
powerful
are.
than any bill
They
or
are.
any law out there.
No.
And he will never allow it. It won't go down. It won't happen.
Don't turn me off, Lefty. They are making Marlboro
you're-
Love y'all,
marijuana cigarettes. Marlboro
Jesse, thank
marijuana
you.
cigarettes.
Jesse, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Jesse.
Thank you for all your support.
You're awesome.
God, I must have been really loud now that I took those headphones off. I apologize.
And I love your car, by the way.
Best car ever.
Cutting me
That is the
off all the
coolest car.
time, Lefty.
You can't talk over people
There's like
and expect to
2
not get
minutes.
cut off,
Come on,
Cindy.
it's commercial time.
Now it's moment of silence time.
Moment of silence, everybody,
moment of-
please.
Before we have a moment of silence, I would like to. I just want to say that, like,
No, this is
we
moment
should,
of silent time.
Moment of
we got to
silence.
take
You
care
gotta
of
be
each
quiet.
other.
Thank you, magicalbutter.com. Thank you, medical-freedom.com. Thank you, CMMNJ.org, the Coalition for Medical Marijuana in New Jersey. NewJerseyWeedman.org or .com.
Tuffy's Fight.
Tuffy's Fight, SativaCross.com.
Jack Storms.
JacksonStorms.com.
Yes.
Anybody else we missed a lot.
Love Nugget.
There's so
You got the
many.
Love Nugget
It just goes
Foundation.
on and on and on.
You know, people
Suffering.
get educated. Check your
All right,
laws.
William
Come on
Haney's,
out
you
here.
got 2 seconds, William. What do you want? TaneyLegal.com. Okay.
And also
All right,
remember,
we're going to end the show
here
now.
Thursdays from 11 to 2. Come and join us. We only got a few weeks left this year.
Every
Please
week.
get out here and help us.
Starting at 11:11.
Let's do this, people.
All right, here we
Yes.
go. We're ending the show now.
Yes.
This is to
Take
all
care.
the patients who did not get their access to medical cannabis.
Everybody, moment of silence now.
They were waiting and they did not make it. Cheryl, Sabina, Diane, the list goes on and on and on. they shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.